irk me a little bit, but that's okay. Whoa, Billy, you just pulled up TikTok and it already had this live going. What the heck? Nice. Maybe TikTok finally is sharing my content. I will tell you, I noticed something. So we just went over 10,000 this week. Thank you guys so much for all the support and all the love. But as soon as we hit 10,000, my views, like when I first started this account and for the first several months, I had like every day I was opening my thing to like 80, 50, 80, 100 plus, right? 99 plus messages. And then in the last 6 months or so, as we've been continuing to grow, those numbers are like way down. And again, my analytics have been looking really weird. So I'm like, you guys are doing something with my analytics. Like there's no way I'm losing views, less and less views, but getting more and more traction in my community and in the classes and this kind of stuff, right? I'm like, doesn't make sense. But now that I'm over 10,000, suddenly I'm seeing those views again. Yay, Tori, I'm glad. Hey, Bishop. Time for tiny yoga, guys. Okay, YouTube is here. Hello, YouTube. How are you? Oh, Instagram, we still have to click a button to go live. There we go. I don't always get notified. Yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, come into the, I know you're in the Discord, and the Discord doesn't work for everybody, but if you can, come into the Discord, because I put reminders and things in there, right? Shafonso, can I explain reaching samadhi? Oh, you updated your YouTube channel, Bishop. I will check. The concept of reaching samadhi from a Vedic perspective is one of many perspectives on reaching some form of enlightenment or unity with the universe. Okay. Hold on, let me make sure. Let me get myself here. Sorry, friend, we're here for tiny yoga. We're doing some yoga here, and I am still working on setting up. So stopping to explain that is going to distract me for a little bit longer than I want it to right this second. But we can talk about samadhi, and if you hang around, we will chat about things well after class. Mindfulness Voyage interviews. Awesome. You've been waiting in the Discord, right? Okay. So let me just make sure angles are all good, guys, and I'm not going to drop the computer off the table or flash anybody or all of those good things, right? Right. Right. Instagram, what does the camera look like from there? Sorry, guys, like I said, I'm a little bit late this morning, so usually I try to get my setup done, but this is where we're at. Is that the only view you get on Instagram? Instagram, like, cuts the camera like this, and that's it. All right, well, it is what it is, you guys. We are ready to go. So, if you would like to snag yourself a seat, join us for tiny yoga. All you need is a place to put your butt. It can be the front seat of your car. It can be the edge of your bed. It can be your office, your desk chair. Wherever you are in the moment. Okay. Dixie. Jesus loves you too. Jesus loves you too. What an interesting thing to feel the need to be the loudspeaker for somebody like Christ, who has a personal relationship and has personal access to every single person. It's just an interesting thing. It's always been interesting. Okay, let's not get sidetracked here. Right? Mr. Marshmallow, you hate attachment? Oh no! Here, I'll leave T-Troll right here on the side of class so he can enjoy some public time. Some people just need to hear it. That's my question. Is that your judgment, though? That's like you decided that somebody else needs to hear something that I don't know. That's what I mean. It's like the funny place of like, oh, I know what you need. You just need to hear this. Okay, let's get into Tiny Yoga this morning. For those of you who are new here, hello. My name is Reverend Deborah. I am an interfaith minister, a movement facilitator, and your shenanigan shaman. Do we explore serious, profound concepts in here? Absolutely. But we also recognize that weaving in some playfulness, weaving in authenticity, weaving in curiosity and willingness is the way that we can really expand, create space within us for the opportunity to grow and learn and to better understand ourselves and the world around us. In this space, we practice non-judgment. In this space, we practice recognizing the value in other people's opinions without needing to force our opinions or our ideas on each other. My perspective is valuable, yes, but it doesn't mean you have to agree with my perspective. So we approach each other with curiosity and willingness in here, rather than with arrogance or whatever it is, right? This is a space for you to learn and grow. This is a space for you to be your own guru. And I encourage everyone here in the chat as well, in the chats, to hold space for those who are not responsible enough to cultivate a respectful space. Do I have moderators in here? I want to check if I have moderators. You've never learned how. I was going to say, Billy, I might need to put you as a moderator if you're willing to be a moderator for a little bit. The spirits. Spirit is modding today. Okay. Let me give you a quick permission here, and then we will start Tiny Yoga. So, Billy, I'm just going to give you permission to mute people, and really, we only mute people. They will be muted for the live. But oh no! I just muted you, Billy. Hold on, I can do this. Add moderator. Yay! Okay, you can't block people, but you can just mute people, and that's just try to just mute people who are being disruptive. If the chat is happening, then let the chat happen. But if people are being outright rude, right, or combative, especially if people are being combative with other people in the comments, please go ahead and mute arguments in the comments. This is not the place and time for that. There are a lot of lives you can go and argue in. This is not the right one. There we go. So that's all I need. It's just, yeah. Also remembering giving people space to be authentic too, right? So we're not quick to mute people unless they're outright disruptive. And if somebody comes in with a Trump 2024 or a Jesus loves you and doesn't stay, then just let them be. Look inwards. Primary duty, self-responsibility, personal responsibility. Personal responsibility and allowing and trusting others to have their own personal responsibility, to be responsible for themselves. Again, this whole, yeah, okay. Let's get started with class. This is Tiny Yoga class. Tiny Yoga class is a exploration of the subtle layers of our inner cosmos. Is it intended, this was born out of my own limited mobility in the mornings and my own argument about my yoga practice, saying, I can't get out on my mat. I don't have enough space. I don't want to go outside. I can't do yoga. Actually, you can. You can do it right on the edge of your bed. And it's actually a really nice way to give yourself a few minutes every morning to just be with yourself. Hey, hey, birch trees, how are you? All right, my friends. Right as my son seems to be waking, we're going to go ahead and get started with class. So, If you'd like to join us, this is a 30-minute gentle flow for every body in every space. And like I said, all you need is a place to put your butt. So go ahead and scoot to the edge of your seat. I will try to check comments, guys, too. But during class, I'm going to be pretty focused on the flow. I'm just making sure, checking the scene here. All right. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Bring your bottoms to the edge of your seat. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths to fully arrive here for our practice. Go ahead and rest your hands palms down on your thighs. Close your eyes. And first inhale through the nose, pulling the breath through the lungs and all the way into the belly with a big inhale. And sigh it out. Inhale again to lift the heart and elongate through the spine. And exhale. Inhale once more, expanding the rib cage in all directions, front, sides, and back. And hold this breath at the very top. Hold. And exhale, let that shit go. Seal the lips. And you can keep your eyes closed for a few more minutes, a few more moments here as we ground in through the feet. So bring your attention to the right foot, the big toe specifically on your right foot. All of your attention in the big toe of your right foot. Give it a little press into the ground and release. Move your attention to your second toe on the right foot, third toe on the right foot, fourth toe on the right foot, all the way into the pinky toe of the right foot. Press all 5 toes into the ground gently and release. Move your awareness into the right outside of your foot, pressing the right outside of the foot gently into the earth, rolling around through the heel, gentle pressure through the entirety of the heel, and turning the foot into the inside of the foot. Gentle pressure on the inside of the foot. Back around to the ball of the foot. Gentle pressure in the ball of the foot. Release all pressure in the foot and then press with the entire foot. Right side grounding down. Solar energy grounding in the earth. Bring your attention now as you release pressure from your right foot to your big left toe. To the left toe, the big toe on the left foot. All of your attention, all of your focus in the big left big toe. Press and release. Move your attention into the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth pinky toe on your left foot. Press all the toes gently into the earth and release. Bring your awareness to the outside of your left foot, pressing gently into the ground, the outside of your left foot. As you roll through the heel, the entire heel, pressing gently into the ground, tipping the foot so you're rolling into the bridge, pressing the bridge gently into the ground, rolling around to the ball of the foot, pressing the ball of the foot gently into the ground. Release all pressure from the left foot and press the entire left foot with intention into the ground. Press both feet gently into the ground. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, releasing the pressure in your feet. You can flutter your eyes open if you'd like to, or you can keep them closed for as long as you would like to during this practice. I'm going to start with the right leg. You can either extend it just with the strength of the leg, or you can interlace your fingers underneath your thigh and support your leg. Honor where you are in this moment. This is not about pushing yourself beyond boundaries or anything like that. This is just about enjoying the space with your own body, with your own spirit, with your own breath. So point the right toe, flex the right toe. Point the right toe, flex the right toe. A couple times back and forth. Point, flex, point, flex, point, flex. Keep it flexed as you gently release it down to the earth for a half Hanumanasana, half splits. Inhale, extend the spine, lift through the top of the head, and exhale to tiptoe your fingers down your leg. You can open your left thigh a little bit if you want to get a little bit deeper, or you can rest your torso on your left thigh. Whatever is available to you, just go nice and slow. Take your time. Find your edge. Find the extension. And then hang your head. Now we're going to take 3 deep breaths in this space, each time creating a little bit more room inside of the body with the breath. Inhale. And exhale, sinking a little deeper into the fold. Inhale again, creating space. Exhale a little deeper into the fold. Inhale one more time, creating space. Exhale into the fold, sink down into the fold. And slowly roll up as you inhale. Give your shoulders a brief little roll back and forth, shake them out, and bring that right leg back to a 90-degree angle. We're going to go to the left leg here. Actually, take a moment and pause. Remember, today is not a fast flow. We're going to take a moment and just notice the activity that's built up within the body, the changes in the breath, the shifts in the mind. Settle the breath. Go ahead and extend that left foot when you're ready, pointing the toe, supporting the thigh or not, whatever's available to you. Point, flex, point. Really try to get the whole foot into this. Flex, point, flex, point, flex. One more point, flex, and gently release the flexed heel, the flexed foot, down to the floor. And again, we're going to go for a forward fold. So first, lifting through the top of the head, lengthening the spine. Take a deep breath in. And go ahead and tiptoe your fingers all the way down as far as you would like to go for your fold this morning. Once you find your edge, inhale. And exhale, sinking into the fold, hanging your head. 3 deep breaths. Inhale to create space, expanding the rib cage. Exhale to sink in to the fold. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, sink back down. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale, sinking into the fold. And slowly roll up on the inhale. Go ahead and extend both legs forward. Adjust your seat so you don't slide off. I'm about to slide off mine. Keep those heels flexed. We're going to go into a full forward fold here. Just go as far as is available to you. If you just get to your knees and stop here, that is absolutely okay. Remember, we're not in the business of creating a battle within ourselves. We are here to be present and patient with our bodies, with our breath, with our brains. Inhale. Lift through the top of the head. Elongate the spine. And as you exhale, slowly walk your fingers all the way down to however far you would like to go. I'm going to grab my toes. I'm sorry, TikTok. I'm going to end up out of camera just to grab my toes. And we're gone. Take 3 deep breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, sink a little deeper. Inhale. Come out of the fold a little bit and exhale, sink a little deeper. Last one, inhale, lengthen the spine, come out of the fold a little bit. And exhale, sink all the way in. Slowly roll up on the inhale. Give those shoulders a shimmy and a shake as you walk your feet back in. Bringing the feet underneath the knees at a 90-degree angle, knees shoulder width apart. And just windshield wiper your knees back and forth. Raw, is that what your name is? Raw, blink twice if I'm in danger. I'm not in danger. I have enough, yeah, I'm not in danger. We're good. Do I look like I'm in danger? Maybe if I get stuck in a forward fold. I could be in danger if I'm stuck in a forward fold. Okay. Windshield wiper the knees. Come back to center. Pause for a moment here. And take your left hand, place it on your right knee, and we're going to go for a small twist. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, turn your torso. You can use this front hand to assist. Keep your knees shoulder width apart, and just reach up and behind with your right hand. Whatever room you've got, whatever space you've got, gaze up towards your right hand, and just take a couple of breaths here, keeping the spine nice and long. Take one more big deep breath. And exhale to slowly release from the twist. Pause for a moment. Right hand to your left knee. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And then inhale into your twist. You can use the front hand to assist as you reach up with your left. Reach up and behind and do your best to gaze towards your hand, keeping your spine nice and long. If you've got neck or shoulder issues like me, it's totally okay that you can't see your hand. Allow your hand to find the edge. Allow your neck to find the edge. Focus on keeping your spine nice and long, and use the breath to massage the edge. Inhaling to expand the rib cage, exhaling to release. Last one, big deep breath. And exhale to come back to center. This time we're going to go a little bit deeper in the twist, this time with the arms down. So inhale. Exhale, turn your torso and bring your right hand behind you to rest on the chair or on the bed. Again, elongate in the spine, and exhale to gaze over your back shoulder. You can use that front hand on your knee or on your thigh, but the back hand is now down on the bed or the chair. Couple of breaths here. Gently caressing your edges, not pushing them or fighting them or breaking them down. Big deep breath in. Exhale back to neutral. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, twist to the left, bringing the left hand behind you. Front hand to the opposite knee. Inhale. And gaze over your back shoulder. Take several breaths here, allowing the breath to create space in the twist. Just massaging those edges. Big deep breath in. Exhale to slowly come back to center. Again, this time reach the left hand towards the right knee, and then we're going to sweep the right arm up nice and wide, or however much room you have, up overhead for a side bend. Just a gentle side bend, opening in the right side. Allow the head to tilt over towards the left shoulder to drop. Reach through the entire arm, through the armpit, the length of the side, extending the hips down into the earth, reaching for a full side bend. Inhale to come up. Exhale to release the arm. Other side. Right hand to your left knee. Inhale to sweep the left arm up overhead. And exhale into a gentle side bend. Keep breathing into the side bend to extend the side bend. Let that head tip to the right, right shoulder gently fall. Breathe here, extending the stretch for the full side body. Make sure you're getting that stretch in the armpit. Inhale to come up. Exhale to release. Both hands to your knees for a couple of cat-cows. Inhale the chest forward, gently lifting the chin. Each rotation, we're going to go a little bit deeper. So the first one, I want you to just gently send your heart forward, gently lift your chin up. Begin the tilting of your hips as if you're lifting your little tail. Inhale. Exhale. Curve the back, tuck the chin a little bit, tuck the hips a little bit. Inhale, forward a little bit more. Exhale, back a little bit more. Inhale, forward a little bit more. Exhale, back a little bit more. Each time getting a little bit deeper, eventually engaging the entire spine. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Once you've got your entire spine in motion, do a couple more. Inhale, forward. Exhale, curving the entire spine, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. One more. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Release the breath and come back to neutral. And here, again, without the breath, just go ahead and do a couple of torso circles, focusing on moving the hips, moving the belly, moving the lower rib cage. Get the whole torso moving in one direction and then the other. Engaging the shoulders in this process too. So instead of just back and forth, we're moving the spine in all directions, all the way around. One direction and then the other. Come back to neutral. Adjust to find the knees at shoulder width apart. Feet back grounded on the earth. Ankles just below the knees. Bring the arms up into cactus pose. Both arms at a 90-degree angle, palms facing forward. Take a deep breath in. And exhale to bring them together. As you're exhaling to bring them together, do this slow and with intention, as if there is a density between your arms until they touch. Inhale, extend them out again, as if there is a resistance. Slowly pushing out on the inhale, pushing in on the exhale. Stay aware of the angle of your elbows to your shoulders. Make sure you're at a 90-degree angle. Keep the fingers extended. I see I messed up my breath already. Inhale, open. Exhale, in. Long through the spine, long through the neck. Inhale, open. Exhale, in. Inhale, open. Bring the arms a little bit further back into a little bit of a back bend. Exhale. Bring them together and go ahead and release. Place the palms face up on your thighs. Close your eyes and move into the shoulders. Rolling the shoulders again gently forward and backward. Wiggling into the shoulders, releasing tension, creating space. Pause for a moment. To close out our session, we're going to do one last pose. I call this one the rising star pose because it's modeled after the star pose, which is the arms extended. But this way, we do this to explore the nerves through the connection between the spine and the fingertips, the energy channels through the arms. So we're going to start with the arms outstretched to either side. Rest your fingers on your chair or on the bed or wherever you've got with you here. I've got to scoot again so you guys can see what I'm doing. Sorry, TikTok, you guys have such a funky angle. All right. Bring the arms out, again, fully extended with the fingertips touching the seat or bed or whatever else is available outside of you. If you're just, your chair is like here, go ahead and just extend your arms down and out. Make sure those palms are facing forward. Ground your feet, knees 90-degree angle. And give your fingers an extension. Open your fingers. I want you to keep your fingers nice and extended through the entirety of this practice. And as you lift, we're going to slowly lift the arms. As you lift, I invite you to explore by moving your hand around, moving different fingers, moving the palm, moving the wrist, tilting back and forth, and in any direction that you feel called to explore. So slowly, again, just big, deep breaths. Slow, steady, deep breaths as you begin slowly moving the arms up. And again, you can bring the hands back a little bit, bring them forward a little bit to explore the nerves and explore the energy channels as they go up through the arm, in through the armpit, through the thoracic outlet, and into the neck. We're just going to take a couple of minutes, go nice and slow here. If at any point this gets too intense, go ahead and just release the arms and TOS activated. Yep. Go ahead and release the arms and just keep the palms facing upright and allow whatever sensation builds to dissipate. So go ahead and start if you have not already, just exploring the extension of the arm. I need room to do this. Again, you can close the eyes, keep them open, but bring your attention to the tendons, the muscle, or the nerves, and the energy channels as they flow through the arms, from the fingertips, through the armpits, under the collarbone, to the neck, and from the head. Take your time, explore. As you slowly rise the arms. Just exploring, feeling it out, bringing them all the way as far as you can up. And once you get to your extension, take a deep breath in at the peak of your extension. And exhale to slowly release the arms. If you're still going up, that's okay. You can take your time still going up. Again, once you reach the peak, take a big deep breath in and gently release the arms back down on the exhale. Pause here for a moment. Again, feeling just the sensations, the newer awareness, the acute awareness of the fingers and the arms and these blood vessels and nerves that run through them. The connections. We will close our practice with the mudra for this week and a brief meditation. Well, let's start with the mudra first. So if you'd like to join me for the closing part of our practice, go ahead and grab your not Hakini Mudra. It's the Hridaya Mudra, Hridaya Mudra. And it is done like so. You can do it with one hand, you can do it with both hands, and yeah. So it's done like so, curling the index finger into the hammock of the thumb. Okay? You can do that with one or two hands. Bring the thumb to touch the pads of the middle finger and the ring finger. Keep your pinky finger extended, and you can rest these on your lap. You can rest them on the bed. You can hold them at your heart. You can just do one hand. I invite you to explore how you would like to hold this mudra. This mudra balances the heart chakra, energizes the solar and lunar channels in the body, balances the heart rate, oxygenates the blood, removes toxins from the blood, detoxifies the body itself through the blood and through the breath and through prana. This is the mudra for tranquility, so through this process of clearing and cleansing is how we cultivate the inner tranquility, removing the toxins and imbalances that cause us tension and ultimately suffering. So if you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes with your mudra. And for just a few moments, I invite you to just listen to the breath. Inhaling, following the breath all the way to the top. Exhaling and following the breath all the way to the bottom. Just take a few moments to allow your breath to settle into a comfortable, steady rhythm. And if any thoughts arise, allow them to rise and fall. Allow them to fall in rhythm with your heart. Allow them to rise and fall in the same rhythm as your breath. They are nothing more, nothing less than the breath of your mind. Notice the way they inhale and exhale without the need to hold the breath, without the need to create any attachment or any story about any thought, any sensation, any breath. And when the mind inevitably attempts to do so, refocus your attention on your breath. Nothing more, nothing less than the breath, than the rhythm of the breath. As you continue to breathe, whenever you notice tension in the body, I invite you to go ahead and adjust to release it, as long as it's not too big of a movement. Check in with your mudra, ensuring that you're not holding your mudra with tension. We want to just hold it with intention, nothing more, nothing less, just intention. Presence and intention. Take your time in this space. There is no rush. In this space, time can stand still if we allow it. Remember that meditation is a personal practice. The more you sit with it, the more it will resonate within you. If your mind and body are busy today, see if you can just meet them with curiosity. See if you can just meet the thoughts and the tension with compassion, with a little bit of space, with a little bit of willingness to hear what they have to say without the need to change them, without the need to do anything about them. As if you are the observer, sitting back a little bit from all the going-ons within your inner cosmos. It can get really busy in the universe, especially the internal universe. Step back, take a deep breath, and just bear witness. If you notice your head floating away a little bit, you can go ahead and tuck your chin to keep the head in a little bit more with intention. Stay with the breath, stay with the practice, nothing more, nothing less than the inhale and the exhale. You can stay with this part of the practice as long as it feels appropriate to do so. If you would like to add a mantra, I invite you to begin silently saying to yourself, so hum. Begin inhale with so, exhale, hum. It can help quiet a busy mind. It also helps align the energy body and the solar and lunar channels in the body as well, which is what the mudra is doing. So we're just amplifying the mudra, amplifying the attention on the breath, inhaling so, exhaling hum, so, hum, inside the mind. As the breath continues through the nose, inhales and exhales, so, hum. Let each iteration be the full extension of the breath. Inhale for the duration of the word so, exhale, hum. Again, just speaking, saying it to yourself in your mind. We'll spend just about 5 more minutes in this space. So if your mind monkeys are chattering, telling you to hurry up and wondering when you'll be done, tell them just 5 minutes. Just give me 5 more minutes, mind monkeys. Inhale so, exhale hum. Nothing more, nothing less than the rhythm of the breath. The mantra matches the rhythm of the breath. The heart rises and falls with the rhythm of the breath. Thoughts rise in the mind and fall away with the rhythm of the breath. The rib cage expands and contracts with the rhythm of the breath. Nothing more, nothing less than the rhythm of the breath. Inhaling so, exhaling hum. Everything in your inner and outer cosmos aligning with the rhythm of the breath, the rise and fall of creation. Inhale the entire universe. Exhale the entire universe. Three more minutes, being present with the ebb and flow of the entire universe. Inhaling and exhaling. Every sensation, every thought, rising and falling with the breath. See if you can stay in this space without pulling yourself out, without now needing to readjust the body, If any tension arises in the body, your nose starts itching, toes start tingling a little bit, spend these last 2 minutes just staying present with it and cultivating this awareness of the way that it rises and falls with your breath. Aligning everything with the breath. Simply being witness. Nothing more, nothing less. Inhale, so. Exhale, hum. I encourage you to stay with your practice as long as you would like, or return to any part of this practice that feels best to you. When you feel complete, I invite you to release your mudra and bring your hands together into prayer, or simply lay one over the other over your heart in gratitude for today's practice, in gratitude for this magnificent meat bag that has carried us through these lifetimes and continues to do so faithfully every single day. Your ally, your confidant, the one that is with you your entire life long. Offer yourself some gratitude for taking the time to take care of that part of yourself. Taking time to give it space to be just as it is, without judgment, without shame, and without guilt. You deserve that and so much more. Thank you again for joining me as well for another awesome tiny yoga session, and to helping me cultivate this safe space where we can all learn and grow together in our authenticity. When you're ready to come out of meditation, please do so slowly. Offer yourself wiggles, offer yourself stretches, really only saving opening your eyes to the very last thing. And if it's a little bit bright where you are, before you open your eyes, I encourage you to rub your palms together and then cup them over your eyes and flutter your eyes open behind your hands. Makes the transition a little bit nicer. For those of you new here, hello. My name is Reverend Deborah, and that was the very end of our Tiny Yoga Flow. We do Tiny Yoga every Friday at 10 a.m. Replays are on YouTube for about a week, and honestly, I've been slacking like hell on getting the replays put into the archive, so there's probably like another week or two of replays in there. Oh, let's grab some pillows. There's a kitten over there, and I really want to go sit with the kitten. Yummy, that was great. Oh, reminder too, everyone, we have a Discord space. If you join the Discord space, then I have been posting the replays or the the yoga flow in a playable little way, right? Where you can just come in. It's through this app called Tummy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tummy. It's a really cool app, and it allows you to create yoga flows with little figures and write in all the cues, and you can basically just press play and it'll cue you through the whole thing. So I can edit this thing and it helps me plan the flow. And then I can post a link to it and you guys can see it for free. And that way, if you want to redo this flow, you can save that link and you can redo this flow a million times and you don't have to listen to me talk about it. You can hear the computer talk about it. And you can go at whatever pace feels most appropriate to you. So I just started doing that recently, and that's a big perk of being in the Discord, is that you get fun stuff like that, right? I put recipes in there. I put more information about the mudras in there. Oh my goodness. Hi, T-Troll. T, were you feeling neglected? Okay. I'll give you some attention. Ooh, thanks for staying warm. The app is cool, but a lot of info in there. Yes, there is a lot of info. I don't know if it's really, like, ideal for just the regular practitioner, except that you can access a bunch of different flows. There are teacher sequences in there too that you can use. Show the mudra. Yes, absolutely, Brian. So this is our mudra for the week. Again, it's called the Hridaya Mudra. My Sanskrit is not perfect, so I apologize for that, but it's spelled Hridaya, and it's done like so. It's the mudra for tranquility. We curl our index finger into the hammock of the thumb, keeping the thumb extended, touching the pads of the thumb and the middle finger and the ring finger, keeping them all upright like this little flame right here, and then extending the pinky finger. So several times this week we talked about this mudra, but I'd love to go over it again with you guys. Why are mudras so cool? Why are they so effective? Because they redirect the energy channels in the body, right? These energy channels match with the fingers as follows. The thumb is the fire element in the body. The index finger is the air element in the body. The middle finger is the spirit or ether element in the body. The ring finger is the earth element in the body. The pinky is water. So what is this mudra doing? This is the mudra for tranquility. This mudra works to balance the heart chakra. So whether you've got a lot of heart energy or not so much heart energy, doesn't matter. This is going to balance it out, help it find balance. The other thing, so the air element in the body, can create symptoms of anxiety, fast thoughts, dryness, dehydration, confusion, even loss of appetite and things like that. So when we tuck the air finger in like this, underneath the fire one, into the palm, we're calming the air, right? We're tucking that in, quieting it down, so that we can create this space of tranquility within. I really love this mudra because of the imagery of it as well as the channels, and I feel like I can see the whole thing in it. So we're going to go into this. So then we quiet the air to help calm the mind and help settle the energy system. Then we bring the fire element to the earth and ether, essentially the solar and lunar, right? The ether and the earth. The solar and lunar energies in the body are managed by these two channels here. That's the ring and the middle finger. Those two channels are called, in Sanskrit, the Ida and the Pingala, they're called nadis, two minor energy channels that run intertwined through the chakras. So when we place fire to those two channels, what do you think? We energize it, right? We warm it up. We get it more active. We get it moving more. So that means that the flow of life force, prana, solar and lunar energy through your system is clearing out, is doing the work to clear out your energy system, to align, to balance your entire system. This divine prana, this infinite source of energy that comes through your central energy channel, splits and manifests into this solar and lunar energy within the physical finite self. Guys, I don't go live with people I don't know. So either send me a message or quit asking to go live. I'm going to turn it off eventually because, yeah. Okay, so Solar and lunar channels are going to offer whole system balance and detoxification. What was I thinking of? What was that thought? Okay, so the water element here stays extended, channel open, so that the water can carry out the toxins. What is this doing here? Clarifying, detoxifying, energizing the entire system. When that happens, when we're detoxifying our systems, like through nutrition and whatnot, right? When we're doing detox fasts or whatever it is you're doing, or detox diets, you need to make sure you drink plenty of water, right? Because that's the carrier. That's the thing that takes it out of the system. So we keep the water element open. This reminds me here of that kind of concept of the divine spark, right, in the heart. And the way that this balance in the entire system is also balance in the heart, because the heart is the center of the system. The heart is our transmutation, right? Your forefinger keeps popping up. Oh, this one here? Just find, then if you can only, if it's better to go like this, use the thumb to tuck it down, create some space for yourself, that's okay. Remember, modify these mudras, guys. Modify to whatever's available with your hands. And we don't do ourselves any benefit by forcing ourselves into these positions, right? Or creating tension in these positions. So if I tuck my finger in and I'm trying really hard to hold it there, I'm going to create tension that's going to make it hard for me to hold this mudra for an extended period of time. And mudras work by redirecting the energy in the body, right? We hold them for a minimum of 5 minutes, ideally. If you can only do 3, you can only do 3, that's okay. Because it takes about 5 minutes for that energy to circulate through the system. Many of these mudras can be held far beyond that, 45 or longer. I often recommend that if you're sitting there watching a show or doing something passive, I encourage you to grab a mudra, whatever mudra feels good to you, even if it's just exploring, like I'm just going to sit like this. I don't even know if this is a mudra or not. I'm just going to sit like this. I don't even know if this is a mudra. Do those things because it will help you understand your energy channels and it will assist you in becoming aware of when they're out of balance, right? Or aware of the things that need balance within you. So, Hridaya Mudra. Again, you can place this anywhere. I just like to rest it in my lap or hold it here at my heart. What are the pieces of this mudra? Is there anything else about this mudra that's important? I don't know, I'm just still hearing and seeing things. It's like the temple within, the doorway to your divine connection, right? The heart being the center of our creation, our manifestation in this finite reality. The center of the system and the way that we transmute energy. The heart is so powerful when we learn the skills to bring other things within our system into the heart and put them in the heart to be processed, to be transmuted. One of my favorite practices is to, spend a day or spend an hour or spend an afternoon or something, how much time I give myself. And every time there's a negative thought that comes up, every time I notice self-talk that's bullying me or whatnot, and that I take that thought and I place it into the heart like an incendiary, right? And I know that when it sits in the heart with compassion and strength, that it transmutes into love. I had a couple of instances this week where I had the opportunity to choose to act out of love or to be snarky, right? To be sassy or something with people. And I was able to successfully do it on I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. Maybe, I don't know. I had an instance with somebody where in the middle of somebody being pushy with me in a bakery, I recognized, right, what was going on within my system. And with that recognition, with that awareness, I was able to take the feelings that I was feeling and put them into my heart with compassion. And in doing so, my mind opened up to these things of like, you know, I bet you she was a little kid who got pushed around and hurried at the store. We were at the bakery and I was taking my time picking pastries and breakfast for my son and I. And this woman was pushing, you know, trying to basically push us out of the way to put things at the register, and was sighing heavily and doing all of that kind of stuff. And at first I wanted to be annoyed. At first I wanted to be snarky. At first I wanted to give her a look. At first I wanted to do something, right? Because we feel justified. Who does she think she is? I should put her in my place. But really, that's almost the same thing. Yeah, it's my assumption and judgment of what I should be doing and what she needs me to do for her based on very little information is actually out of a place of arrogance and ignorance, right? Arrogance in my ignorance. But in that moment, I was able to put it in my heart and transmute it. And I felt that little kid. I felt myself wanting to rush my son because of the energy that she was putting in there. And I went, nope, we're going to stop that generational pass down right now. Because she could have been my mom or grandma. And I was like, that's it. We're not going to do that. We're not going to pass this down. I'm not going to pass this on to my kid. And so I held space in my heart and I pretended in my head, in my energy, right? I looked at my son with the kind of love and compassion that I wished that somebody could have given to her. Or to me, because I've been rushed and hurried in those situations as a kid and as an adult. And oftentimes I usually just rush and get my stuff packed and go, sorry, you know, or I'll be snarky and be an asshole. But neither of those actually resolves the situation. Now, later in the week, I wasn't able to do that. Later in the week, I had an episode where it just came right out of my mouth. But still, the awareness is there after it came out of my mouth. That was not in alignment with who I really want to be and how I want to interact with the world. So when I went in, okay, the other one was a parking spot. Somebody parked totally sideways in the only shaded spot. And I was going to go into the market. And I was like, drove up, parked sort of nearby, you know, right next to the car, basically. It was like, something, about this person. And then I realized that there was a passenger in the car. And the passenger absolutely heard what I said. And I immediately was like, oh, see, that's why you don't do things that are out of alignment with who you want to be, because then you got to come back and apologize or say something or take responsibility for it. And honestly, I don't like taking responsibility for being an asshole. I don't like taking responsibility for being rude, for being short-sighted or arrogant. I don't like taking responsibility for those things. Billy, I really started to recognize other people's trauma, but just having compassion instead of being mad. Yeah, I don't want to have to apologize. So in self-interest, I try to cultivate the kind of person, right? The kind of behaviors that don't make me have to put me in that place of feeling guilty or feeling shame about my behaviors. Now, that obviously is also along with learning forgiveness and learning how to be present and compassionate with myself. I can't just give all of that compassion to everybody else and try to kowtow myself, because again, that's not balanced, that's not authentic. So when I went in the store, I processed it and I held it on my heart. I felt guilty. I went through my head wanted to like go through all the possible scenarios of talking to that driver and whatever and going back out there and saying something. So I resolved that when I went back out there, if they were still there, that I was going to say something. But I wasn't going to just go, hey guys, sorry I was being an asshole. Instead, I walked out to my car and I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to say. I was like, I don't want to go out there and just apologize for the random thing. And so when I walked out there, getting in my car, the driver was actually, they were still there, and the driver was back in the car. And the passenger had clearly told them what I had said, because the driver then yelled over his window to the other side. I couldn't see him, right? But I heard him so, hey, sorry about my parking job. Now, I live in a really small town, right? So I hear him go, hey, sorry about my park job. And I laughed and let the next thing come up. And the next thing that came up was, you know what? I'm really excited. I was like, actually, I go, it's really creative. I was like, I love what you've done with it. And I could hear him laugh, and I could hear the passenger laugh, and I had a good laugh about it, and we were able to move the energy without me then also putting myself in the position of being being lesser than, right? Or having to subjugate myself. We don't have to subjugate ourselves to make things right. And it's the habitual subjugation of our culture, right? The culture that asks you to cower below the powers that be, or the people who are in charge, or the people that are more confident, the people who are running things. And it's like, they're not any more valuable than you are. But we spend our whole lives giving all of our resources and energy away to other people because we don't value our own energy enough. This is one of those fine line things where people say, you just don't love yourself enough, right? And I go, that's not a fair statement. No one outside of you can tell you or assess the amount of love you have for yourself. That's just, it's not. You can't. And oftentimes we do love ourselves to some extent, right? And so to say, oh, I guess I just don't love myself enough. But if we shift it a little bit and say, maybe I don't value all the different parts of me. Maybe I don't value all of the different dynamic energies available within me. Maybe I don't value my ability to be angry or aggressive or powerful because I've gotten the message that that is a bad thing about me. So I'm going to push that away and I'm going to compartmentalize it. I'm going to redirect that energy in another way in my body or in my personality. And in that way, I think we hit more close to home on the issue of not valuing every aspect of self. Because every aspect of self is your team. These are members of your crew. These are the people or the energies that have been with you your entire life long. And yet again, we're told in this world to look outside of ourselves for all of our answers, for our healing, for our understanding, for our happiness, for love, for security, for safety. But it skips the important part, that the seeds for such things outside of you are planted within this garden. When we don't plant those seeds first and tend to this garden first, we can't be expert gardeners. Because if we are working with other people's stuff and hinging our happiness and our love on other people outside of us, again, we are doing it on finite things we have no control over. And it's that idea, if I hang my happiness on getting a new car, right, this specific type of car, then I don't allow myself to be happy until I get that external thing, which is actually a finite thing. And when that car breaks down, or when I lose that car, or somebody steals it, or something happens, right, then I've lost my happiness again. Brian, you offered a hug to a lady. She started crying and we hugged. She had a kid pass. Hey, thanks for the love, my friend. Thanks for the share. I am a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of offering hugs. I'm a huge fan of standing a little closer to people. I'm a huge fan of offering a smile. I'm a huge fan of doing these things that offer connection, that are rooted in compassion, right? And we can't really experience compassion for others until we've felt the depth of it that comes with having compassion for ourselves. I think that's really is the depth of these things: love, trust, compassion, patience, these kinds of things, forgiveness, right? The depth for these things, even your personal power, sense of autonomy, authenticity, the depth for all of these things is only available within you. When we go external, it's like only working on the surface level of self. And ultimately, then the surface level of the world. Why doesn't manifestation work for me? Where is the root of the things that you want and need? What is the root of the things that are leading you away from manifestation? And really, are you trying to manifest things that are truly aligned with your energy, with your authentic energy? Or out of our own imbalance and our own ignorance, are we striving for and trying to manifest things that are actually not for us? Again, we live in a system that doesn't respect that individual authenticity. It doesn't encourage your individual authenticity. It encourages your willful ignorance. You're much more easily pushed and pulled around and poked and resource taken away from you than you are if you're aware, if you're self-aware. What is samadhi? Self-actualization. Well, samadhi goes beyond self-actualization, right? Samadhi is to align the self with the entirety of creation. And samadhi is something that is beyond the physical world, right? So if you find somebody walking around this earth telling you that they are enlightened and they have reached samadhi, be wary. Be curious. Yes, son?
Could I maybe see it?
Yes. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. Could I snuggle that kitty down?
Oh, let me see if I can move the camera so you can come snuggle that kitten.
Can say, see if Rosie needs the leg. If she's not, could I maybe do some more practice?
Drawing videos?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you enjoy them.
That's why I left the stack of paper there, so
Good.
I could draw some more.
Grab yourself a snack for breakfast, okay? Or oatmeal.
I'm just gonna grab a little tiny snack.
Hi, Jan.
I'm actually a really
She is. Enlightenment is a journey, right? It is the experience, I think, that we go through the process of enlightening as we are willing to bring light into our awareness. Continue to enlighten the awareness. Oh, thank you, Jan. That's my favorite message. Enlightening the self.
Rosalie, how are you awake?
From the universe. Signed, love, the universe. But it's not something we reach, right? Self-actualization or enlightenment or any of these things. It's not something we reach overnight. It's not something we snap our fingers and experience. Sorry, I startled you. In fact, it is a exponentially unfolding process that is much more like the lotus opening, the petals, the unfolding in this quantum way, right? That it's the unfolding of this box with another one and another one and another one and another one. It's the sacred geometry kind of stuff, the Fibonacci sequence kind of stuff. Like, this is the nature of creation. And so, of course, everything in creation follows that same rhythm. What were we doing during our meditation? Aligning ourselves with the rhythm of creation. And that rhythm of creation is right here. Yeah, the lotus, the journey. And the lotus describes the journey. That's why it's used as a symbol of it, because it's from the mud, from the density, from the darkness of deep, muddy water, comes this beautiful, magnificent, 1,000-petaled lotus, right? Such a beautiful thing. Grows from something so dark and dense. And this is the experience of being human. You start in darkness, and we slowly enlighten the self. Or not. Again, we live in a culture that doesn't encourage the enlightening of self. It encourages the narrowing, the compartmentalizing of self, the putting self in box so you can't see whole self, don't recognize the connection of everything else. Again, we have our breath every day, all the time with us. How often do you pause to realize that your inhale comes from that tree and that grass and the ocean over there? And that when you exhale, they breathe you in. This isn't something woo-woo, made-believe. This is a scientific, like my breath and their breath. The grandest misdirection is that we are so disconnected, is that we are isolated. It is part of the illusion, and sometimes one of the hardest parts to break free of. In fact, I think the funny thing about the journey of enlightening the self for me has been how hard some of those things are. It's the funniest thing to realize how justified and how stuck we can get, and how we can believe so completely total and utter untruths. Do I do face yoga? No, I just make a lot of faces. I'm a shenanigan shaman. We just make a lot of faces. I do like face yoga, though. I don't do face yoga regularly. No. I do like little face massages, though. I highly recommend those. If you're going to ask, I don't have any skincare routine. Sorry, guys. I don't. Or a yoga routine, face yoga routine, or... But how we can disillusion ourselves, how we can become so committed to falsities, right? And it can feel really difficult. It can feel really dense. It can feel really... Sometimes on the journey, we have to look at things that we have taken for granted as true for our entire lives and suddenly realize that they are the opposite of true. And we have to reintegrate that piece. We have to, that energy, we have to untangle it from all the different parts of self. Realizing that somewhere, I received the message that my value was in things that I do for other people, external creation, which a lot of us get in this culture, because it's a capitalistic. It's about your production. It's about the things that you do and express and do for other people, and how much work and how much you work and how much money you make for the system and all of this stuff, right? It is very externalized. It is very keep your blinders on and just do the thing. Your body is just a meat bag. Your brain is just like a computer. Your heart just pumps blood through your body. We are so much more than that. But here's the thing. Even though maybe not early work, but some of this awareness work, when you're first pulling back the veil and the blinders and whatnot, it feels like moving mountains or like pulling yourself off a Velcro wall. But the truth is it gets easier every time, because it's actually a muscle that you build. It's a habit that you build. Let's not even call it a muscle. It's a habit that you build. Mindfulness is a personal practice. Your style of mindfulness is uniquely for you. Can you learn tools from other people? Yep, that's why I'm here teaching stuff, right? That's why we do the classes. Can you go read books and listen to gurus and wise people and whatnot? Yes, absolutely. But some of these pieces are going to resonate with you as true and good for you, and some of these pieces are not going to be for you. And because, right, like you say, Brian, we are spiritual beings living a human experience, it's up to us to decide what that experience is going to be. And you have the capacity for that kind of autonomy, that kind of freedom. When we talk about real freedom or real strength, or, comes from an awareness of self, so that you're not pushed and pulled by all the other energies in the world. What power, what strength is it that if people are devolving around you, screaming and yelling at each other, even if somebody's directing it directly at you, weaponizing their anger at you, to still be able to sit and to see the anger, to see the arrows, and let them just pass right over you? To not be swayed, to not be affected by these codependent energy games that we're so used to playing. Most of us are playing them because that's how our system is designed, is to exchange energy with a finite reality, because it's a finite system. It is not until we become aware of and we start to clarify the connections between prana, universal life force, and our finite expression of it. Our systems are finite. That's all they know. They're ignorant of the rest of the universe, of your purpose, of your spirit. The body and the mind are very limited and very ignorant. And dense. They're dense. But when we begin to enlighten the being, we clear away the density. We lighten. So that instead of sinking to the bottom of a problem like a rock, we can maybe float in the middle of it and see where the tide takes us. Or better yet, find our way to the surface and watch the cool waves that this energy creates without even having to dive in. And having the choice to choose, hey, that's a cool wave. I'm going to dive in on that emotion. I'm going to choose that emotion. I'm going to spend time with it. I'm going to share it with other people. And then when another wave comes up, the kind of wave that normally makes you say nasty things to somebody, say something snarky or do something rude, that kind of stuff, you can see that wave and go, oh, you know what? Today I don't want to ride that wave, because I crash on that wave every fucking time. Every fucking time. I go to be snarky and rude, or I go to say something nasty to that person, or every time my partner and I argue, or every time I complain about work, right? It does not lead me to where I want to go. So do I want to ride it? Or do I want to get on that wave and say, oh, I had no choice but to ride the wave. I had no choice. They made me do it. My boss made me complain. My partner made me angry. My kids made me say the nasty thing. Nobody can make you do shit unless you let them. And you can keep letting them if you'd like to. I did for a long time. And I learned a lot about myself and about other people within it. But I was not free. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel grounded. I didn't feel like I trusted myself. In fact, that was the biggest thing, is I didn't trust myself. Because no matter what wave of emotion came, I was going to fucking ride it, even if it crashed our ship into the rocks. Yes, Billy, we know better, and we still do. So how do you stop that circuit? I just saw an electrical circuit, right, with the little bar that connects the circuit. How do we open that circuit? So instead of the same loop, that we have the moment to pause and say, oh, do I want this energy to keep going around? Or do I want to break the circuit for something else? I was trying not to use the word break. Thank you for the gift, friend. Oh no, I lost my tea hook. My tea ball is in there now. Brian, what about when rogue energy hits, like a store or someone else's weirdness? I think it depends, Brian, again, on the rogue energy. Just like the analogy of when you're surfing. When you're surfing, you'll have sets of waves. They'll be pretty reliable. You can sit on the beach and watch the sets. And then occasionally you have the rogue wave. One that'll double up on a couple of them. One that will, you're in the middle of catching the wave and it'll manifest in fucking front of the wave. You're like, damn it! Rogue energy occurs. That's the chaos particle. That's the chaos aspect of the universe, right? So the question is, my friend, are you flexible enough to be aware and decide how you want to ride the rogue energy too? I think that takes time, right? Learning to ride all the different kinds of waves. And if it's a positive rogue energy that makes you want to dance and sing for a moment and grab the person next to you and do-si-do, well, or choose to ride that wave or not. But if it's rogue energy that makes you want to just pull your hair out and scream, I would explore the source of that wave. Because that might not be one that I want to ride often. especially if it's a rogue energy that comes up again and again, because everything in the universe is patterned. Everything in the universe has a pattern, has an ebb and a flow. Everything in the universe matches this pattern. Inhale and exhale, rise and fall. Everything in the finite reality, in the finite universe, in the finite creation that we are experiencing on a finite level has the same rhythm. And infinite is the container outside of the rhythm. Within it, of it, and not. So how do I figure out how to ride the waves? How do I figure out how to stop the circuit? Align with rhythm. Your rhythm. You are unique unto yourself. Your fingerprints, the shape of your iris, the frequency that we can measure from your body. Humans have variations of frequencies, a spectrum. Almost as if you are a unique voice in a chorus or an instrument in a symphony. And since we are all vessels for that energy and expressing that energy, our unique frequency, then I like that analogy. Humanity as a chorus, as a musical body. We need every single note for the song to sound the way that it's intended to sound. And just like two strings on a guitar, some of them resonate well together, and some of them don't. So if you don't resonate with somebody, it's not personal, it's just energetic. That's okay. Brian loves to snorkel. Abstract art machine, detachment and grounding myself. See, I don't like to use the word detachment. I pick on the word detachment. I'm judgmental of words. Probably most of my judgment is of words. Detachment, to me, leads to apathy. Nah, it's not my problem. I'm not going to interact, right? Non-attachment is not apathy. So, playing semantics, I like to make sure that I mean what I say and say what I mean, and that the words that I use, because language is limited, that I do my best to choose words that convey the energy and the idea as close as it can to me, right? To what mine is. And that clicked. And it's important, again, what is a non-attachment? It's not detachment, and it's not fully attached. So it's balance. I'd be out of balance if I started to detach myself from the physical reality that I live in. I am a human. You're a human. You're stuck here in the physical reality for all intents and purposes. So detaching from it sometimes can actually lead us away from our authentic expression. And that's how you see this whole, like, the spiritual gaslighting and the people who are all just like, I'm just love and light. I'm just going to totally detach from my shadow and anything negative ever in the universe. Like, the universe literally needs a fucking negative, a positive and a negative pole. You do. The planet does. Batteries do. Everything. But yeah, go ahead and detach from half of the nature of reality. Good idea. I'm sure you're going to find balance that way. Although we do. Seems I overcorrected. I was going to say, although we do, because a lot of times when we're in one place, excess darkness, density, fear, doubt, shame. When we find our way out of that, sometimes it's only temporary and we swing the fucking other way, all the other way. No, I'm going to be all love and light. But what happens with that kind of momentum? You're just going to keep pinging that ball back and forth. You're going to be playing Pong all day long. I'm going to, here, TikTok, you can actually do it. Bonk, 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 bonk. Back and forth, back and forth. High and low, high and low. And then they're going to diagnose you as bipolar. When we learn to find balance, there is a degree of non-attachment. Imbalance often comes from deep attachment to things that pull and push us and sway us around. So we have to some degree, become non-attached. And this is where the personal work really, really, really happens, because for some of us, we may begin to naturally unattach to certain things in life, certain foods, certain physical activities, certain words, certain practices, certain people, certain jobs, right? But for other people, those are going to be the things that they resonate at. Hey, Galactic Overlord, how are you? Brian, I'll jump in the hole with you because you know way out. I know, but sometimes I got to go in there and I just got to be in the depths of the darkness. In finding balance, I had to let go of the intensity of that swing. And the intensity made me feel alive, made me feel connected, made me feel enlivened. But it pulled me out of balance and ultimately swung me right back into darkness. This is why we cultivate the center. Abstract Art Machine, you have a question. You want to teach yoga, but you're going to school to be a social worker. How can you teach Western minds without getting myself into trouble in that regard? This is, I don't know if I can answer that. Hi there, friends. Over there on YouTube. I don't know if I can answer that, because the truth is that I don't work within those structures specifically because I don't want to have to adhere to like the getting in trouble because you said a thing or mentioned a thing or whatnot. So I just kind of, I went to school, did the things, and then work with the things outside of those structures, I guess. But I do think there are ways to weave it in. I know that there are people who do it very expertly. And they're the gap bridgers, right? They help bridge the gap. It's a craft that I actually really admire. The ability to word things in a way that kind of slips in the idea, right? I'm not that kind of teacher. I'm usually just like, it's like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then like, duh. Exactly, from what you've surmised, it's about choosing your words carefully, but not a total win. Billy, I wonder if I can keep myself to myself. See, and this just immediately feels like such a disservice to the self. Like, why not choose a career that allows you to be yourself all the way through? Being a teacher. Choose a school that allows you to say those things. I don't know if it's available. I don't know. But I know it's imperative that we learn to balance these things. We live in a finite world, so we have to interact with our finite world. We also are spiritual beings, and we have to live also in that world of spirit. Otherwise, we are out of balance. Otherwise, we don't reach self-actualization. We just stay in the mud. The lotus has to reach higher. The lotus has to reach for the light. The lotus has to allow itself to float. Has to build the structures to float, right? To find the structures within its own DNA, its own impetus, its own awareness. It goes back again to the allegory of the cave. Plato's Allegory of the Cave. If you have not read it, I encourage you to do so. It's a really fantastic analogy for many, many things. I love it as the analogy for enlightening the self, enlightenment. There are people at the far back of that cave, in the density, in the darkness, in the muck and mire. And if you were to go in and take someone in their ignorance and drag them out of the cave, out of the darkness, as quick as possible, enlightening the self in a flash, you're actually likely to hurt the system. you're more likely to hurt the system. You're also more likely to scare the person. You're more likely to send that person more convicted in their willful ignorance in the darkness because of the intensity of that experience. Remember that darkness is also not just darkness, but that density is also fear-based. So when you take someone out of a fear-based environment and you say, look, here's all of the light and light, all of the opposite, sometimes you can re-aggravate that fear and cause them to run from the very thing that would enlighten them from the fear, out of the fear. But our systems go back to what is most familiar because our systems are here to keep us safe. And if being in density, being in ignorance, are things that help protect the self, then the system is going to choose it. And your system is going to choose what protects you over and over and over again until you take the helm and become the captain and decide what you need protecting from and not. I found out I don't need protecting from new ideas. The idea itself, someone else's perspective, doesn't do anything to me unless I allow it to. But if I'm curious, then I have the opportunity to enlighten myself from their perspective, from their light of perspective. This is how, when we choose to enlighten the self in the moment, why it spreads to the people around us. And why we talk about it as, we lift the collective consciousness. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Why? Because the things that you do and say, everything that you do and say, every energy, every moment, every breath is echoing, rippling out through the entire universe and back to you. It is some weird quirk of subjective experience in this finite reality. And it can be really scary until you learn to ride those waves. So practice mindfulness. Any mindfulness tools. I don't care where you start. I don't care if you start with breath work. Echo, echo. I don't care if you start with mudras. I don't care if you start with yoga. I don't care if you start with prayer. I don't care what doctrine the practices that you have are coming from. But I encourage you, if enlightening the self or bringing light to the self and to your life sounds like something that you might want to try, then I encourage you to start some sort of daily practice. In Sanskrit or yoga, we call this sadhana, your daily practice, personal practice. You don't have to have an hour every day. You can weave it into whatever routines you already have going. Your self-care isn't something that should be compartmentalized and completely separate from the rest of your life. Self-care is something we do for ourselves, a way that we love ourselves and build trust with ourselves in the moments that we need it most. Your sadhana, your daily practice, is about maintenance. Just like washing your hair and brushing your teeth is about maintenance. Yes, it's good to also have, an exercise practice and a good eating practice and all these other things. But when we recognize that our self-care is something that we can do on a daily basis, we find the key to building trust, to rebuilding, oftentimes, trust with ourselves. Everything out in the world is finite. There will come a day where the people who show up for you every day might not show up for you. And there will come a day where maybe new people show up for you. But again, you are with you for your entire life. You can't get away from you. And for all intents and purposes, you're with your crew of self. It's not just you, but there is the young, silly self. There is the self that goes in for a job interview, all professional. There's the self at dinner with your parents, and there's the self in bed with your partner. There's the self when no one is looking. And there's the self that you present when everyone is watching. These are your allies, not your enemies. This is an important shift. Because again, we live in a world that tells you not to look at these things, that they are your enemies, that your emotions are. Just emotions. Right? Daniel, you're slowing your life to give space to that very energy. It's the little things. So I often talk about starting your sadhana, your daily practice, with just 5 minutes. What? You mean I don't have to sit for a whole fucking hour in a yoga class? Yeah. You can take care of yourself for just 5 minutes. Or longer if you'd like. Or fewer if you'd like. But just like mindfulness is a habit that we cultivate, so is self-care. So is awareness. So is trust. And my question is, are you building trust with yourself every single day? How are you building trust with yourself? Don't you say, yeah, I trust myself. I want to know how you are recommitting to the trust with yourself every day. How do you show up for yourself every single day, reliably every single day? And you know what? It's okay if you said, I don't. Because I didn't. And some days, I still don't. But I notice. And I learn to forgive myself and show up the next day. Because isn't that it? That's all you have is that day. And if I'm not going to show up for myself today, tomorrow might not be here. Yesterday is just a memory of something that's now constructed in my head, right? I'm not guaranteed to be on the wake-up list tomorrow. Billy, I love you. I need to trust that I could tie up my scarf on my head like that. I was actually doing it right when I came in at the beginning of class, and I did another tutorial yesterday or the day before about these too. This one's a little different. I forgot to do a tutorial about that one, but I can do a tutorial about that one too. This was something a friend of mine taught me several years ago while traveling. I had longer hair, and of course it was just hair maintenance and braiding it and whatnot, and with in TOS, right, with the TOS stuff, I was having trouble braiding my hair. I had it quite long, and I was like, oh my god, I lose feeling before I even get down to the point where I can turn it around over my shoulder. And she was like, oh, here. What the fuck? How do you do that?
Could I go say hi to the kitten? Did you find away?
Yes. Hold on. Wait. Nope. Wait. Let me make sure the camera is turned away so you can come say hi to the kitten without being on social media. Okay.
Ready?
Hold on, son. I know you do. You wear bandanas, long hair. Yeah. Ready? Yes. Yeah, I had the back a lot longer. It's still my perfect haircut, is having long in the back, short on the top, and the sides shaved. But I'm just waiting for it to regrow. Hair holds memories, and I had not given my hair a deep enough cut that I needed to, that I wanted to. Cutting my hair has absolutely always been a freeing thing for me, but that comes out of it being used as a weapon against me when I was younger. I remember as a teenager, the first time I shaved my head off, shaved all my hair off. And I got a lot of flack. It was still the 90s, and it was still, but I remember my mother saying to me how wild it was, because for her, when she joined the Marines, they shaved your hair, right? They shave your head for boot camp. And she said it was so humbling to have my hair taken away. For her, it was very much a part of her personality. And she said, but for you, it's like you've been empowered. Well, I had longer hair. I wasn't allowed to cut my hair as a kid, and it was used as a way to, yeah. And so the first chance I got, I shaved every bit of it off, and I was like, no one can touch me. No one can fucking touch me. I absolutely felt empowered. We judge from our own experience, from our own perspective, from our own fears, from our own hopes and dreams, how we judge other people's through our own lenses. You donate to Locks of Love? Nice. I don't know if my hair is really good enough for Locks of Love, in part because I don't know. I don't trim very often. I just like let it grow, right? And so I end up with like a good bit of, what are they called? What are they called? He's gonna fall. Don't let him fall. Split ends. But I'm working on it. I don't know. Recognizing that the judgments that happen inside of our head before we speak them out loud, that they come from our own experiences and our own understanding of the universe. And ultimately, my entire understanding of the universe only comes from how it happens inside of me. When we talk about this a lot of times in here, that my experience of the world, right, is only through my senses, through what I can see, through what I can hear, through what I can smell and taste and feel. When you and I hold hands, I don't experience your hand, right? I'm not in your body. I'm not in your hand. I don't know what it feels like for you to hold my hand. All I experience is your hand in mine, is the feeling of your hand that is occurring inside of my hand.
Hey, Mama.
Nope.
Could I draw that?
Son, I already gave you permission for that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, did you have breakfast?
Not really hungry.
Can you get yourself a little bit of a snack or some water or something or some tea so there's something in your belly, please? He just takes the faucet. He's like, okay. I forget where I was now. I forgot what I was chatting about. That's why the interruptions are difficult sometimes, honey. My brain is like on a track telling a story or thinking about a concept. And when you ask me something, it makes my train stop and me move to another track. And then sometimes I can't find the train again. Things happen inside of us. Everything of this world happens inside of me. And therefore, I am ultimately the one responsible for everything that occurs within me. Because no one else can experience what is within me. No one else can actually reach what is within me unless I allow that to happen. But we allow that to happen oftentimes unconsciously. We allow that to happen because of our cultural programming. Because that is how we are taught. And it takes away your personal power. Often the ways that we are taught in this culture to interact with each other, to show up for ourselves, all of these things are often ways that lead us directly away from our truth, from our authenticity. And when we are not being authentic, we are not able to connect with the things that are truly for us. When the scales are out of balance, when the scales are tipped, the measurement is always going to be askew. So if I understand the world from this place of me being far less valuable than other people or money or whatever the heck it is that I balance the scales with, right? Or imbalance my scales with, I'm going to keep making decisions from that place of imbalance. And this is how we end up caught in cycles of suffering, because I keep making decisions from a place of imbalance without even realizing that I'm imbalanced. And then I go, why does the world hate me? Why can't I make money? Why can't this thing ever work? Why can't I find love? Why can't... because we haven't done any of the internal exploration. One of the easiest ways to keep you weak and powerless and confused and ignorant is to tell you that the entire other half of your universe doesn't even exist. Thanks, Vada. I'm learning to love yellow. And we see that in our social structures, in our religious structures, in the patriarchal sort of systems and structures, in the lack of balance in terms of the solar and lunar energies within our cultural stories and ideals and workings, right? Way out of balance. And the system is reordering. Creation is reordering and devolving into chaos and reordering and ever expanding. So what happens? But the earth does its job. The energy does its job and starts reordering. Again, I was just talking to a friend of mine who's visiting right now about things like ADHD and autism and how the rising numbers of them, of neurodivergency, of just neurodivergency, whatever they're calling neurodivergency. But that was the same thing with bipolar. There was this whole stint of like, everybody's bipolar now. Oh, everybody's neurodivergent now. We're evolving. And the current structures don't have space for that. The current structures say you don't fit into this society the way that it's been going for this long, well, then you're obviously broken. If you take the society and the culture and the things about it as, and the structures within it as permanent and fact, and like forget about the concept that these structures were created too. Religion, medicine, the economy, these things were all created. We evolved into them and we will evolve out of them. And then probably devolve into total chaos and have to go through the process again. Or choose to, for those that choose to, right? If you choose. Or you can choose to lift yourself out of those repetitive cycles. But I'm excited to see the collective lifting out of the cycles. The collective lifting out. Vada, the devolving is never fun. Yes, and it's the grand reordering that allows us to put the puzzle back together. I've always said that the reason I went and studied human development and wellness across the lifespan for 20 years and worked in the field and whatnot, the reason I pursued this is because I love puzzles. I love puzzles. And the most dynamic, complex, ever-changing, you'll never solve the puzzle completely, is humanity. At least, right, that's how I see it. As this beautiful puzzle that I will never resolve every answer that I ever have about it. I can keep exploring human development and wellness across the lifespan, the human being, the human predicament, and the universe itself, right, and our connection to it for an entire lifetime. And in the process, enlighten my system. Hopefully to a place of not needing to have all the answers, but understanding them all. So a lot of times I feel like what happens is that I start working on a puzzle, start getting the edges going on in my life. I start building something, putting the pieces together, and oh, that looks pretty good, right? And then somebody comes and flips the table over. Or the cat runs across the puzzle, right? Now I gotta find the pieces. Put them back together. But the issue, again, within is that it's not static. So it's not just trying to do the same thing over and over again, right? Isn't that the definition of stupidity or something like that? Like to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. But as humans, we're told to grab routines and to do the same thing over and over and over again for a really long time. But your system is not intended to do that. Yeah. We reorder. We devolve into chaos so we can reorder. Remember, you are healing because you were broken. You have the opportunity to fall in love with yourself because you didn't like yourself all the way. Right? Let me pull it back to I statements. I get to learn to love myself because I didn't like myself before. I get to experience the development of trust, of a trusting relationship with myself because I didn't trust myself before. Oh, Brian, you're kidding me. You would hide pieces from your mom, then you'd pretend to find it. At least you pretended to find it. Definition of insanity, Vada, is how we are told to live. Yes. So again, in studying the human development and wellness, the human lifespan, right? I recognized an oxymoron already. Again, since the structures are compartmentalized, child development over here, psychology over here, midlife psychology over there, and elder gerontology over here, we don't want to look at the different. Nobody from gerontology is going into child development saying, hey, we understand this thing about our elders, and you understand this thing about the children, but they're not jiving. That's what I did. That's what I did. So we talk about children needing routines. We talk about how imperative it is that we establish routines for our children. And culturally, we do so to an extent that we actually encourage our children to deny their own natural rhythms for food, for sleep, for going to the bathroom. So much of childhood in this culture is ignore yourself. Oh, you have to urinate? No, just go ahead and do that right there in your pants and just sit in it. An infant does not like that. Infants have a natural response to their system releasing the stuff. I'm trying to be careful with my words, I don't know. Whoa. They squirm, they move away, they wiggle, they whine, they cry, they scream. It is not comfortable to be sitting in it. But then what we do is we tell them that that's normal and okay. Ignore that discomfort and sit in it. Ignore your body telling you to wake up from your nap to go, no, you have a diaper, just go back to sleep. Signs, everywhere the signs, blocking out the scenery, breaking my mind. Do this, don't do that, can't you read the signs? And the sign said, long-haired freaky people need not apply. So I tucked my hair up under my hat, and I went in to ask him why. Thanks, Brian, for the music break. So then at about 6 months, because that is the 6-month recommended when you start feeding your children solid food. At 6 months. Do you know at 6 months the digestive system is not done developing? It doesn't have the enzymes yet to process solid food. Do you know it doesn't get those enzymes until about a year? It takes about a year, first year of life, for our digestive system to be ready for solid foods. Ready for solid foods as our primary source of nutrition. And then we regulate our meals to match breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we put food on our children's plates, or we put it in their mouth, regardless, really, of whether or not they're hungry. Or how much they want to eat. How many times, and I've done it too, taking care of kids. One more bite, come on, a couple more bites. I'm teaching you to ignore your feeling of being satisfied. I'm teaching you to ignore when you're hungry or not. And I'm teaching you to eat how much I tell you is appropriate. It's actually a really nutrition, that particular piece is something that I really want to explore and talk more about, but I'm also very hesitant to do because of how imbalanced our nutritional habits are in this culture, based on even nutrition, like static nutrition, saying the system needs the same thing every day, same amount of water, same amount of calories, exact, same amount of, yeah. But we're not a dynamic, we're not a static system. We're dynamic and changing. But the system itself says, no, I need you to be reliable and compartmentalizable. I need you to fit in a cubicle. I need your lunch to fit in a box exactly the same size. So we're going to feed everybody the exact same thing. We're going to give everybody the exact same career. We're going to give everybody the exact same expectations. And if you don't fall in line, if you don't fit within those expectations, well, then there's something wrong with you, and we're going to medicate you or put you away or do other things like that. The system we are in right now is not designed for your self-actualization. It does not encourage your enlightenment process, your enlightening of the self. Only to the extent that allows you to be a productive member in the way that capitalism requires you to be. Billy, since birth, food has been my enemy and addiction. And we can find balance. I want to find balance. I want to get into nutrition in an authentic way. But as a responsible, right? Being responsible, I have to do it one-on-one with people. I have to do it one-on-one with people because you're a dynamic system. And so what for one system is not for every system. And to pretend like it is again, to deny the authenticity, the uniqueness of self. And Billy, you say you think on nutrition a lot, right? But even that, from what perspective of nutrition, right, are you talking about? From the Western perspective of nutrition? From an Eastern perspective of nutrition? From just asking yourself what you want and what you need? And is your system balanced and so telling you what is actually good for it? Or is your system out of balance and then is craving and telling you the things that pull it out of balance? But to take care of your nutrition in that way is almost to be radical. You have to step outside the norms of what the ignorance of this culture tells us to do. Andrew, each one is unique biologically. Agreed. Biologically, cognitively, energetically, we are unique manifestations. And therefore, our systems require a unique, dynamic care. But no one else is privy to what goes on throughout your entire lifetime inside of yourself. So who is the master? Who is the expert on you? Rowan, I heard you say it before. Do you want me to laugh? Nutrition. Who is she? Never met her. My mother always said that food is your first line of defense, right? Food is your nutrition. Is one of the first aspects of relationship with yourself. She always said to me, she said, if you're going to shop for a used car, shop around, test drive things, get a beater for as little as you can kind of deal. Like, she's like, just make sure it gets from point A to point B. Who cares? If you want, go thrift, shop at thrift stores. Don't buy top dollar clothes when it's all fucking new and smells like a weird warehouse. Like, you don't need to do those things. But food, scrimp and save on all those other things. Find yourself the best deal. But with your food, make sure that that is the first place that your resources and energy goes. Because it's meant to sustain and fortify and ultimately enlighten, add to the enlightening of the system, add to that journey, add to that process. And what we do with our nutrition, with our relationship with nutrition, can either lead us out of alignment or lead us toward balance. Yeah, Rowan, it's okay. I didn't mean to be too snarky about it. I wasn't sure. I was just, did you want to laugh? I don't know. It does sometimes eat comments, but I also sometimes just skip comments, you know, depending on what we're chatting about. Mimimzimzim, have I heard of people licking the seeds of the food that we plant? And what do you mean? Like for a benefit or for something else? Like on a mass scale, like the seeds I get in a pouch are licked? Or are people like making a habit of licking before we plant them? I'm curious. Now, I will warn you right now. Ah, yes, to match our systems. No, individuals. Okay. So, seeds to match our systems. Interesting. Interesting. I'm just going to make a note of that and explore what you're talking about, because I have not heard of this thing, and I'm curious what the thing is. Yep. That is now a post-it note on my wall. People licking seeds? Okay. But Andrew, you asked, where does one start? With nutrition? By being mindful. When I first started working with my nutrition, I started making every single meal practices. Every single day practices. Not changing my diet yet. Not changing what I'm eating yet. But just being aware. Keeping a journal. How did I feel 20 minutes after that meal? How did I feel before that meal? What did I crave when I was feeling really fucking famished? What did I want to eat immediately? And then after I ate that immediate thing, was there something else I craved? How long did it take while I was eating that thing for this flavor to change? Do you know that your system will naturally cue you when you're starting to feel full? But we are taught, again, culturally, reliably, we are taught to ignore these natural impulses of the body. Food stops tasting. You know that first bite when you're hungry? If we are eating at a mindful pace, you will notice a shift in the flavor before you notice a shift in your gut. But this takes mindfulness. Mindfulness takes practice. Billy, yes, fasting does help turn on the signals, but again, because of the utter deterioration of our understanding for how to take care of ourselves, I really don't like to talk about fasting on lives, because it's one of those very easy things for people to, because okay, so here's the thing with fasting. You can also turn off the signals with fasting, and that's something that's very dangerous. You don't want to short circuit the body so that it stops telling you what it needs. Fasting can very easily become ignoring the body's needs, and that breaks trust with the self and therefore creates more imbalance. Starmuse, clean the plate, BS, yeah. That's what I was talking about. I was talking about the way that from infancy we teach our children how to ignore the impulses of the body in regard to nutrition, in regard to, defecating, in regard to sleeping. We set our children on sleep schedules, because that is how the rest of the world in the capitalism cultures that we live in expects us to behave. They expect us to be compartmentalizable and fall in line. And so we are from birth, that personality, that way of being is cultivated. And we become adults who ignore our impulses, and therefore our systems remain out of balance, and therefore we are easily tipped and pushed and swayed because our systems are still in a state of need. Starmer's muse, for you, it would be dangerous as a kidney disease patient. Yes, absolutely. We are unique systems. We need to treat our systems as if they are unique. Act as such. So another practice that I really like to do with my nutrition, at least, is for each meal, every single thing that I consume, I either say it out loud or I say it in my head. And all I say is that in this bowl, cup, plate, food, whatever it is that I'm eating or consuming, I see the entire universe supporting my existence. I see the entire universe supporting my existence. I trust that the energy of the universe is always flowing through the path of least resistance to bring me to my highest good in every moment. I trust that the universe has my wellness reordering in mind if I allow it. And that little shift is going to start making a difference. If I eat a piece of chocolate cake and I am bitching at myself the whole time, I promise you it's going to hit the body, it's going to hit the system, and it's going to hit the brain different than if you sit there with it and give yourself love and compassion and just enjoy the thing. We are not static, compartmentalized creatures. We are very dynamic creatures, and your energy matters. Chocolate cake. Right? So how do you show up to your food? Do you just rush through without thinking about it and just put something in to sustain the self? That's what most of us are taught to do at these specific times of day. And wash it down with milk. How do we treat having to go to the bathroom? As an annoyance, as an interruption from our day. Oftentimes, this is how we treat the self-care we need the most. The in-the-moment self-care, the day-to-day self-care. Not the 3 times a week when you go to an hour-long yoga class. Not the, not the stuff that only happens over here in this time. You see how that's more compartmentalized? What we're cultivating in here is the awareness of what our systems need in the moment. Learning to ride the waves, the impulses of our system, because they also echo the entire universe. We are told in our culture so much of this external stuff and this push and pull and pick yourself up by your bootstraps kind of deal. And the reality is like that you have to fight to manifest something and you have to work really hard. We have all these terms that talk about the density of gross motor skill type of interaction with the universe. Just nail and hammer, push and pull kind of ways of interacting with the universe. Yet so much more is available when we learn to receive from the universe. when we learn to listen to our systems, we align ourselves with our authentic expression. And that's what balance, true balance really is. True freedom, true strength, true, like, that balance, that center, that self. Is a threat to a system that relies on your willful ignorance. True love. Mim, zim, 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 my friend. I often say that in here about true love because when I was a kid, my mother, I asked her, how do I know when I'm in love? And she goes, oh, you'll just know. And I said, that's not fair. I don't want to just know. I want you to tell me how I know so I can go find it, right? Well, you got to love yourself first. And then, right, that was the only thing she can give me. She was like, okay, well, at least start loving yourself first. And I thought I loved myself. And I did. But I didn't value myself. She didn't teach me to value myself. Because if I'm going to experience true love, it is value of other as well as value of self. Hey, Regal Poison, how are you? How's your day, my friend? That sounds delicious, Star Muse. Salad of spring mix, carrots, beet peels, red onion, a little drizzle of sunflower oil, jasmine rice, and asparagus. Whoa, yummy! I'm a big salad fan, especially in the summer, and I don't use any dressing on my salad anymore, but I do use pickled things, so like the juice from sauerkraut or the juice from some of the beets, right? The pickled beets or asparagus spears or even just from pickles. These actually work really well to moisten the salad without having to add all of the stuff that goes along with the, whatever they're called, mass-produced salad dressings. I guess I'm just baffled lately. I'm feeling not more baffled, but I'm just having, this week especially, has been a awareness of how baffling it is that we have been so grandly misdirected. But at the same time, how beautiful it is that we are evolving away from that misdirection. We are evolving in a way that we are intolerant of that misdirection. What is neurospicy? We were talking about this a little bit ago, right? More and more and more and more and more of neurospicy, some degree of neurospicy. Neurospicy cannot fit into a system that says you have to do it this way reliably every single time. You have to follow the rules that we tell you, and you shouldn't really question them too far. You need to do what we say, you need to do it reliably, and you need to do it when we ask you to do it. And neurospicy is this evolution out of that, and like literally I physically can't. Literally my brain structure will not allow me to be subjugated within the boxes of your capitalistic thing. We don't fit anymore. And is that a reaction from the universe or the earth or humanity, the collective, to the powers that be in the situation that we've been in? Maybe. Or maybe it's just the natural order of the way that things are evolving, that we can survive, not thrive. And maybe at some point we did thrive. We did thrive. We had to have, didn't have to have, but we had certain stages of compartmentalization, certain stages of our growth as many of us thrived, and then fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer. This is how I know that we are in a stage of raising our frequency. Our evolution is on the upswing. We're not going, I mean, there might be a healing crisis still, but I can see people all around me who won't can't fit. Hey Zark, how are you? My hope is that it brings back together communities and villages. It takes village. You know what? It is. It already is. And what does the system say? Oh, you silly hippies want to go off and do whatever. So the system itself fights back by telling you a bunch of bullshit about how silly this stuff is and how whatever it is and how makes a narrative for you to redirect you back into the box. No, 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 no. Don't look outside of the box. Don't question anything. I promise you, if you just stay inside the box and follow all of my rules and eat whatever I feed you and sleep when I tell you to, that you'll be just fine. And someday, you'll get a really special reward. And I'm just going to say it's something like, go to a perfect place. Heaven. Or maybe it's the retirement is your special reward. You know what? I actually don't have any interest in spending my entire personal lifetime, my experience on this earth, in this incarnation, in your box. And you know what? There are times where I have enjoyed being inside of the box to some degree or another. But it was purely out of my ignorance. Neurospicy doesn't fit the salt and pepper recipe. You always thought of neurospice as an ability to compromise self. In some ways, yes. And actually, we were looking at an astrology chart yesterday that has the neurospicy bits in it, and I was pointing out certain pieces that I wondered if we can actually see neurodivergence in astrology. I'm sure we can, honestly, because everything, all that energy is in astrology, is in your charts. Oh my gosh, Zark. Bring your grandma a little cake from me, okay? A literal pin. Go get her a little cake, a little candle. So, I was talking about, last night we were talking about neurodivergence, and I was talking about a part of neurodivergence that manifests on a certain scale of a certain area of neurodivergence. This idea of presence of mind, right? You forget I read the lives. Yeah, I'm also live on Instagram and YouTube right now. This idea of presence of mind. Humans have this presence of mind. Presence of mind means I understand that you have your own thoughts and feelings and life that goes on outside of my understanding of it, right? We have to acquire this as we grow as children. The brain doesn't have it from the get-go. I have to develop presence of mind. Without presence of mind, I have more and more of a sense of self. Because we see manifestations of neurodivergence where there isn't much external communication. And that can be likened, that can be connected, linked to not having presence of mind. Why would you try to communicate if the other people around you, you didn't think they had their own thoughts and feelings and things? Like, there would be no reason to communicate with them, right? This is one of the manifestations of neurodivergency, and one of the ways where it does encourage an increased sense of self. But what is our authenticity is the sense of self. Is the truest, most clearest sense of self. And again, I feel like that neurodivergence thing happening more and more and more is us evolving out of the ability to ignore ourselves. We're also seeing a lot of ascension symptoms, right? Hey, Noah. People having veil thinning sort of experiences. Feeling energy. Feeling other people's emotions. First time tapping into empathy and into prana, the prana that flows through their bodies, or even having lucid dreams or having visions, right? These things are happening because our inner world is getting louder and louder and louder. You don't have to fight as hard to hear in there anymore. It's almost as if, ooh, My pirate said, "It's almost as if the poles are about to shift." But that's bigger than that, like, not the planet, but the dark and the light and the shift. The paradox is that the inner self coming to light, creating union with the external self, we're just flipping from the external self. It's all pictures right now. Because we were also talking the other day about hemispheres of the planet and how we also have hemispheres of the body and how the energy centers have a rotation to them, a different rotation on the front and on the back, because these are part hemispheres. It is reaching. We are evolving into a place of unity, into wholeness with self, not more duality. But maybe in the flip of the poles, we'll recognize the unity, because the external self, being the focus, is out of balance. The tendency for people to swing again away from darkness, away from shadow, away from inner self, to total external self. And then from total external self to total internal self. Or the pretension, consciousness stream. Okay, pause. Sorry. Oh gosh. Sorry guys. YouTube is lags a little bit. YouTube and Instagram lag a little bit, and I just realized what I looked like just now with between the head wrap and my fingers on my temples. Being able to laugh at yourself, I guess. Brian, you took the plank off your ship. Everyone can stay or leave. Yay. Crystal ball is missing. I know, Mimson. I was just laughing. I'm like, I'm in my little silk nightie. Channeling. Sorry. How beautiful and how hilarious, right? To be literally talking about like swinging the other way into like spiritual like cognitive dissonance, or like swinging the other way and being, yeah. I gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. So much easier. There's so much more flexibility and flow when you just laugh. What did I miss? Thor, hey. An epiphany moment. Kind of. It was kind of. It was a visual moment. I'm a really visual person here. And I'm a storyteller. And when I still tell stories, when I write stories, I actually don't write the story, like, I don't come up with the story. I write stories when I see an image, when I see a picture and it starts to play, and then I write out the story as it goes. If you want to work on being able to hear your guides, if you want to work on channeling, if you want to work on communing with higher self and other aspects of self, I encourage you to practice that piece. What piece? One piece. That cup needs its own live. I know. Once I give myself the time and I get myself some clay, I'm going to start making some tea trolls of all different sizes. So beware. I might do nothing but lives and tea trolls. So, but Star Muse, if you're audio not visual, right? Then again, when you hear the story, whatever pieces come up. You guys hear me talking about this week. We've talked several times about the practice this week of doing two-handed journaling, right? If you want to really practice on hearing these other things within, or seeing the images, or connecting with this subconscious or other levels of your consciousness, a practice that I really, really love is two-handed journaling. You use your dominant hand to write all the things you want to talk about, right? The surface level processes that are happening in your brain. Start writing that stuff out and do so free flow. So don't worry about grammar, don't worry about spelling. You don't even have to pick your pen off the paper if you don't want to. And write, conscious stream. Allow that to start going. When there is a response or an image, right, whether it's a word or an image of something, when there is a response, an answer to the things that you are writing about, use your non-dominant hand and take your time and spell out, write out, or draw, if that's what you feel called to do, with your non-dominant hand. What does this do? It develops the habit. You're teaching your mind to respond to these things. Normally, we are taught, again, to ignore these things, right? We're taught to ignore these things. And so the mind creates shortcuts, creates habits for us, and holds those habits for us. So we've always been ignoring those voices or those images or those intuitions and guide, whatever. If we've always been ignoring them, then the brain goes, oh, that's not important. Oh, that's not important. And throws it away, puts it away. Because we are used to going, that's not important. That's just a random thought. I can't answer my own questions. Throw it away. So when we do this practice, free flow with the right hand, conscious thought, whenever that response comes, stop and take your time. Stop and take your time. Spell out do every letter. I know it's your non-dominant hand, so it's going to take longer, and that's on purpose. In this way, you can cultivate the habit of when the response occurs within your system, that your brain goes, oh, that's important. You want to listen to that stuff now. Oh, okay. I'll just pick up on that stuff now. Okay. And then your brain becomes your ally. Instead of having to fight the brain, or try to make your guides louder, or any kind of that stuff. Again, this comes from allowing. Teaching the brain to allow our natural impulse, our natural responses to manifest and to be heard. We have to practice listening. After a while, if our systems haven't been listened to, again, they either stop communicating things or they start screaming. And usually the body starts screaming, right? Your life, everything around you will start screaming. Misalignment! Something's wrong! Because your system wants to be healed. Your system wants to reorder. Oh, Zark! Okay, let me read that. You tried it. You tried the journaling, and then you did a personal 3-card tarot draw, and the 3 cards perfectly matched what you were feeling and writing. You had a good cry after. Oh, I love that. I'm so glad. I love offering these tools. The reason I offer these tools is in hopes that they are effective. So when I hear that they're effective, it really makes me pretty excited. So thank you, Zark, for sharing that. Thank you. Actually, I love all of you guys. You guys all give me a whole lot of support and encouragement and reflections that are really amazing, that are really reaffirming to my authentic, my seemingly authentic expression. I'm still trying to figure it out. Right? It's a process of allowing my authenticity to arise within me, not from a place of imbalance, from a place of balance. And so I'm currently balancing my system. And when I balance my system, these other things start to happen. These other things start to fall in place. Manifestation is not something that you just do all by itself. You balance the system so that you have room in your life for the manifestations that are really for you to come to you. And you stop trying to control everything outside of you from your position of ignorance and allow the wisdom of the universe to bring you what's truly aligned with you. That's a process. That's a journey, right? Mimsim, that's where I'm right now. I am right now screaming and laughing occasionally. Again, I talk about it like rebirth, like birth. When you're rebirthing the self, life is going to squeeze you. And it's going to keep squeezing you. Literally, it's part of the process of being born. You go through the birth canal and you get your fucking shit squeezed. Like, bad. And then there's a relief when that process is through. But we oftentimes get stuck midway through our own labor because the tension is scary or difficult or uncomfortable, and we're not used to facing tension. We're not used to holding ourselves with compassion and relaxing ourselves enough to make it through the tension. Can you imagine if a baby fought back against labor? Why do you think babies are so squishy and so malleable? So they can go. But we are in the middle of being birthed and we're fighting back, trying to crawl back up into the womb, go, no, 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 I liked the last place I was. I liked that womb. I don't want to go anywhere. I understand. I know. There's some really cozy places to be. But we're not static, and stagnant water falls out of balance. Berry, peach, plum. What's an example of what you could write about with the right hand, left hand practice? Okay. I'll tell you the first time I used the practice. I experienced monthly, so that was the result, is what I figured out. But I experienced, ever since I hit puberty, I have experienced severe pain every single month. And it's just ramped up over the years. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And so somewhere in my late 20s, I started doing this practice. And I asked my uterus, I was like, what the fuck is this about? Like, I clearly see that you're more and more, and like I was writing a letter to my uterus being like, what? And I didn't filter. I wasn't trying to be nice. I wasn't trying to be compassionate. I was upset and frustrated and in pain after years and years and years of going through it. So I just let that free form, free flow, free flow, free flow. And when I started hearing responses, whether they made sense to me or not, I stopped and wrote it out and went back to my free flow. This is how I found out I had endometriosis. Because of the answers that I received in that process. And that was, quite a while ago when they would not have tested or asked anything about that. And revisiting that, I also learned ways to treat it and eventually heal it. I mean, not heal endometriosis. But now, my degree of pain is sometimes minimal to nothing. It's rarely through the roof, like it used to be. And I attribute it to the things that I received in that conversation with myself, because they're directly related. Like you were saying here, Zark, you did the practice and then a 3-card reading, and it was exactly matching it. So I studied the things, and I explored the things, and I went to the doctors, and turns out, yep. And part of it was, anyway, I don't need to tell you guys all the answers that I received, but Star Muse, how does abundance happen? Not your problem. Allow it to happen. Yes. Eli the teacher, what is the origin of that voice that comes through the left hand? Really good question. And I don't have an answer for what the voice that comes through yours is, because I come from this understanding of the self from a internal family systems conceptual way, right? There are many aspects of yourself, and those aspects are created through your early development when you're relatively unconscious, and through your gaining of consciousness and becoming human, fully developed, which happens and doesn't even stop, right? Happens in your 20s, in your mid-20s. During that time, you manifest all various aspects of self, of ego, of personality, of habits that happen in the brain and the body to ultimately keep your system safe. Some of those may present and tell you that they're your guide or your captain, but really it's your ego. Some of these you may not even listen to or hear unless you start doing practices like mindfulness. Many of these we've been taught to ignore through our lifetimes. We've been taught, again, like I was saying, with our food, with our ignoring our body and ignoring our spirit, ignoring our guides, ignoring our higher self. We've been taught to ignore all of that. So this practice is not for you to find specifically, I mean, it could be. If you want to use it to specifically find your captain or specifically meet your inner child, you can 100% use it for that. But if you're just looking for the initial experience and exploration, then just allow your system to respond without having to name who that is. Maybe you eventually find out who that is. Maybe it is a part of yourself. Maybe it is a memory. Maybe it is just an imagination game, right? The science is always out on this because the science won't integrate this yet. If you could answer your own questions, you wouldn't need all of the structures of capitalism and all the other things. But there are, yeah. But the sort of an original self, like Suzuki's beginner mind, yeah. This is the self that you can speak to at that point. When you start to do this practice too, you can ask, who are you? You may not get an answer. Remember that you might not get words at all. You could get images. You could also get feelings. I have done things, especially early experiences, early memories, early developments of the system may just be feelings in the body. Anxiety sometimes will manifest from early experiences before the body was verbal. So there are no words for this. And the brain at that time, without the verbal capacity, doesn't have that capacity to compartmentalize and explain those things. So what happens? It stays where it is. If you want to find your inner child, go and have a conversation. And you don't have to use, the reason I like the journal is because you don't have to know how to meditate. You don't have to know how to quiet the mind. You don't have to know how to visualize. You don't have to know how to do anything except for write. And you only have to know how to do it with one of your hands. The other part of the practice is learning to do it with the other hand, because you're literally learning how to hear the voices. And as your ability to write with your non-dominant hand or draw with your non-dominant hand becomes better, so does the trusting relationship with yourself. I have gone through this process of meeting the different parts of myself, and it's actually through this journaling process that has afforded me the ability to meet several of the pirates on my pirate ship and develop relationships with them and even understand why they do the things they do. Oh, well, that makes sense if you're doing it because of that. But that's not even oftentimes we find that these characters, these aspects of self that were seeded in these early experiences do not grow up beyond those early experiences. This is why you see I gotta quit picking on her. This is why you see the 50-year-old woman in Starbucks throwing a tantrum, because that part of her ego self, that voice within her, still throws a tantrum. That still is 5 years old when her needs didn't get met or her request was denied, right? And it caused some sort of thing in the system to said, okay, the only way for me to get my needs met when somebody mistakes my needs or puts the wrong milk in my coffee or doesn't do what I need them to do is to start fucking screaming and throwing things. Who is that? Is that an adult, mature person? No, it is a child. And that child voice lives in the mind, and in the child's energy lives in the body. And And we believe that they are us because we don't understand that there's all of these different aspects. So we identify with every rise and fall. We identify with every push and pull of energy, and we are constantly pushed around by the universe, and we're like, I have no control over my life or my emotions or anything. Have you built a relationship with them? I can't do that. I am just a singular, static, flat, non-dynamic person, right? No, you've just been really led astray by Western concepts that are intended to make you deny your system itself. Honestly, I still feel 12, Millie. I'm just pretending adulting. Zark, the new clairvoyance is balancing the brain, logical thinking with the right brain, intuitive and feeling thinking. Yep, absolutely. Again, that's what we're doing, right? We're evolving into a space of balance. We're evolving out of duality into the understanding, into the experience of our unity. Not just the knowledge of our unity, not just I know that quantum physics does this, and I know that we are all children of God, and I know, right? These are not complete concepts. They're still ignorant concepts. The wisdom in the enlightenment comes from the recognition of so much more than that, of the subtle layers of our connection and of our reality. I love you, Mim and Zim. I'm glad you're here. Thank you guys for the gifts. Thank you guys for the love. I love you guys so much. And I'm really grateful to be able to sit here and talk to you about these things. Because I was also enculturated the same way that everybody else was. And I was inside of my box, and I kept myself inside of my box because I didn't even know that I was doing it to myself. I was perpetuating the imbalances that the system wanted me to maintain. And we do so thinking that's how you're supposed to do it. We become the flying monkeys for the very system that threw us out of balance in the first place and taught us to deny our truth and taught us to deny our power in their interest. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be in this life at this time. And at this point, I wasn't always, but at this point, I am so grateful for the difficulties, for the scary moments, for the dark moments, for the density, and for the awareness to see it as density, and for the awareness to see that there's something beyond it. A lot of my childhood, I felt like I was trying to climb walls, try to get out of things, right? Trying to see the other side. There's that kid that goes, there's got to be something beyond the walls of Eden. There's got to be something beyond the walls of Eden. Y'all say this is Eden, that we just stay here and have the perfect American dream, and if I just follow all the rules, then I'll go to heaven someday or some shit like that. But even Eden itself was its own compartmentalization that said, if you stay ignorant and follow my rules, I'll take care of your every need. You just must stay ignorant. This is your choice. This is free will. You have the choice to stay in the ignorance of Eden or not. I would say, actually, you probably have less and less of a choice now, though, because the universe itself is evolving, right? The planet itself is raising its vibration, and so it's like the tide rising, and eventually Eden is going to flood. And either you're going to find yourself holding on to palm trees and apple trees, begging for, trying to grasp for fucking air, or you're going to learn to let go of the security of the familiarity of ignorance and take the ride with the ocean. As vast and terrifying as that may be, because you are intrinsically a part of it. The grandest illusion is the idea that you are isolated from it, separate from it. Because then I'm just a small little blip. And for some intents and purposes, I am a small little blip. So much of the manifestations of me are just little blips. I'm 40. I'll be 40 this year. Not yet 40. 40 years in this body is not that long. And within that time, my body has evolved and changed. Every 7 years, your body regenerates completely. We are such dynamic, infinite manifestations of a finite experience. Time is an illusion. Time and space are relative to the observer. The idea that time and space are static is an illusion. I forget the name of this philosopher. I forget the name of the scientist that said, time is like a stage. There is my stage and my walls and my, right? Or space is like a stage. And time is what happens on that stage. And this is our experience of space and time. But eventually we came to understand through quantum exploration, through the exploration of the subtle layers of reality, right? We're talking about getting more and more into the subtlety as we evolve, and that's how we raise our vibration. And that's how we understand our experience on a deeper level. Don't look at that because I'm going to... No, shit. Actually, accidentally reading things and distracting myself. Fuck! Stephen Hawking. No, it wasn't Stephen Hawking. Actually, Einstein was the one who said time and space are relative to the observer. Well, relative to light. Time and space are relative to light. Through this, and what is our observation but light itself? Our awareness, our consciousness is light. And so in my observation with my consciousness, I have the ability to manipulate space and time. My consciousness manipulates space and time by its sheer existence and interaction, inevitable interaction with the rest of the universe. So if time and space are not a stage, that means I am not stuck in the box of time and space. In fact, depending on where my attention goes, manifests not only this time, this stage and going ons here, this time and space, but then I can also adjust this time and space for my experience. Oh, manifestation works really well. If you just write some affirmations on some papers and put them in a bowl every night, everything you want will ever come to you. Will come to you. When I learn to be fully present and integrated with all aspects of my inner and outer reality, when I learn balance and presence and patience and acceptance, fluidity, I cultivate fluidity. And in this way, manifestation comes to me. Very Western. Again, another misdirection. You got to fight to manifest things in life. You got to really focus. You got to really work at it. Even manipulating, the system itself is even manipulating, right? And has been for a long time. Spirituality, spiritual practices, deep, profound teachings have been manipulated to falsify them and keep you feeling weak and distracted and separated. It would not serve the current structures for you to be aware of your truths, your impulses, to understand how to balance your system without the need for any of their bullshit that they're trying to sell you. The system doesn't benefit. And so the system keeps you ignorant. Depends on your willful ignorance. And yet we understand that enlightenment and manifestation happen more smoothly when we allow them to happen. So in this day and age, and where we are now in this stage of our evolution, I really think one of the most radical things you can do is to cultivate awareness, is to cultivate mindfulness within your reality. Cultivate the tools that allow you to not be pushed and pulled, that allow you to be present with what's occurring and make choices for you, the true choices that you need and you want, not what somebody else tells you you need and you want. So you can rebuild trust with yourself and hear your inner voice that you've been taught to ignore. It only feels difficult because a lot of us don't have people around us doing it with us. Because those of us who've been doing it for a while feel like we've been blazing fucking trails through the jungle and all alone. But we are reaching that tipping point, that 100th monkey tipping point, where the earth itself is upgrading. Like I said about the ocean, right? You can stay in Eden, in that compartmentalized concept of ignorance that relies on your ignorance for you to stay there. And in the past, you could have stayed there probably for your entire lifetime without a whole lot of trouble. The problem is we are in a rising tide. And when that tide reaches the top of the wall in Eden, Eden will flood. And those left in Eden are going to they're going to have a choice to cling yet longer to that ignorance, or to allow, not swim up to the surface, to allow. Let me go meditate so I can work my corporate job that exhausts me. That's the process, yes? And eventually, let me meditate so I can find the job that is for me. The one that aligns with me, the one that doesn't exhaust me. The one that I can integrate my meditation into, my mindfulness into, that is not in opposition to my wellness. Star Muse, yes, the universe has more than we can imagine. This was one of those things in meditations, or maybe when I was young, I don't remember what it, something that's been in my head for a while. It's just this idea. At some point, I suddenly realized how, silly it is. Wait a minute, if my eyes can only see this, and my ears can only hear this, and I am just a limited little blip in my understanding and experience and in my, current existence, how the fuck do I think that I know everything about the universe, or I know what's right for me, or I know what's most aligned for me? The universe is so much more creative. That I found in my lifetime, the more I tried to stay to what I wanted to manifest, the more I led myself away from ease, from peace, from playfulness. And the more I sat back with a curious, okay, universe, what do you have for me today? Instead of telling the universe what I want in some kind of demanding, childish way, instead I meet the universe every morning now as best I can. I'm not perfect, right? I'm not your guru. I'm not perfect. But I meet the universe every day and do my best to invite my truth, invite authenticity, invite abundance, invite love, invite trust. Because when I invite it, it is a gentleness, a compassion, where that demanding is not. And I guarantee you will discover how much more creative and expansive the universe really is. I thought I just wanted a little house with a picket fence and whatever. Turns out, I resonate at this magnificent frequency that when I'm aligned with it, it feels the most I can't tell you. It feels the most I can't tell you. The laughter, the alignment, the fluidity, the buzzing within my body and in my brain, but at the same time, the stillness, the discovery and the joy and the peace. the lightness and also the sturdy grounding. But it's an ebb and a flow. It's a Billy, have a wonderful day. I love you. Billionaire Axe meditates on the TV show Billionaires. What? I don't even know who this is. But now I have to go watch. It's downright silly. Tony, you are a guru. I am my own guru. You are your own guru. Guru, right? Guru, the term, Sanskrit term guru, simply means that which leads you from darkness to light. Again, like the analogy of the cave. That which leads you out of the cave into your expansion, your enlightenment, the thing that enlightens your system. You are the one that does that. You are the one that walks the path. You are the one that sits with you in the darkness. You are the one that searches for the light or opens your eyes to allow it in. Star Muse, follow light. I think in the past it was more of a search for the light, look for the light, find the light, travel to the light. And the more I sit with it, the universe now, it is, we are the light. You already are the light. You don't need to go anywhere to find it at all. Again, it's not outside of you. The message I have been getting for the last couple of years that repeats almost firmly in my mind and in my meditations and in my journals, right? You are all you need. You are all you need, and you are all this universe needs, your universe needs. Now, I say that, and you go, but what about other people? I need community of people. I'm a community, I'm a pack animal, right? Yes, we absolutely are, and that's the paradox. That's the inner and outer, micro and macro. We need the collective as much as we need ourselves. But when we skip the self, we are not able to align with the collective. We are not able to join the collective because we haven't joined the collective within. We haven't learned to be egalitarian with our inner community. Oftentimes we walk around with really shitty inner dynamics, really shitty relationships with other parts of ourselves. And we wonder why they manifest outside of our reality. Literally, I said for how many years, I have a bad picker. I'm bad at picking partners. My picker is broke, right? It was a joke kind of thing. Of like, but it was also very serious. Like, I chose really terrible relationships. I'll admit that. Let me say that a different way. I can say that without judgment. I chose relationships that were not in alignment with my truth, with what I really needed, and what I really wanted out of my life. Exactly what my relationship with myself looked like. I wasn't listening to what I really wanted or what I really needed in this life. I was trying to do and be what other people told me I should be, what my culture told me I should be. And everybody does. That's the process. That's the journey. That's the illusion to enlightenment. You have to be dragged down into the darkness to come back up to the light. I have to leave home if I'm going to journey back home. Eli. Okay, I won't watch Billions then. You are the entire universe. Hey, Summers. It's so freeing. It really is. And I guess that's why I feel compelled to share. Because I went from being inside the box. I went from willful ignorance. I went from weaponizing my energy. I went from fighting and pushing and pulling in this finite universe. I went from ignorance And I can acknowledge that I came from ignorance, because it's where we all come from. It is not a judgment. It is not a, ooh. However, when we choose to perpetuate that ignorance, knowing that there is other choices, that is when we must take responsibility for our choices. Eli, have a wonderful day, my friend. Remember, folks, I have a Discord. We have a CAYA community Discord. If you would like to get into the Discord and discuss this stuff at length, including get cool resources and stuff like that in that space, come join us. The link is in my Linktree. I'm at Move with Change on Linktree. I'm at Move with Change on all the social media platforms. Go follow me wherever you hang out. Yeah, go follow me wherever you hang out. But make sure you follow me on YouTube, because that's where the replays are. And make sure you follow me, well, on TikTok, because that's where you can download all of my content. I make my content so you can download it. I make my content to answer questions that you ask. I make my content to share the very tools that brought me from that state of density and ignorance and into this state of expansion. Am I at samadhi? No. I am not a fully enlightened being. But there's a lot less. There's a better balance of light and shadow within me. And through this process, I know that these tools are effective. I was my guinea pig. I guinea pigged it for everybody. And I think the thing that gets me excited is that it's actually the simplest of practices that lead us here. Not the most complex ones, not the most high-end expensive ones, right? You don't have to go commit yourself to a nunnery. You don't have to go through crazy breathwork practices. You don't have to spend days and days and days sitting underneath a tree and fucking up your knees trying to sit in meditation. You don't have to do a single fucking yoga flow if you don't want to. This is your journey. There is not one size fits all. You are your own guru. You will lead yourself to your light. You can lead yourself home. Only you can do that. Can you receive benefit and understanding and support from outside of you? Yes, the entire universe is supporting you. The entire universe is reflecting back to you everything that you are and everything that you choose and everything that's available. But we walk around like this and be like, I have no other choice. I've got no choice. This is who I am. This is who I'm going to be. Nope. I won't see that anything else is possible. It actually makes me sad, to be honest. To see, I've been studying media manipulation, particularly since the 90s. And it's really sad to see how effective it is. It'd be one thing if manipulation that's happening was just the kind of thing that, like, I don't know, maybe got us to buy a little extra something, or I don't know. But the severity of it now, the staunch ignorance, the, like, clinging to narrow-mindedness and to density. It breaks my heart, honestly. User 17253828. Sorry you missed Tiny Yoga. We did Tiny Yoga this morning. But the replay is on YouTube at Move with Change on my YouTube channel over there. I'm currently live over there too. I don't know if you can rewind the replay while I'm live. I think you can. Yay! You got to my link tree. Good. And that's okay. So to say that too. Okay. So the universe is supporting you. The universe is leading you through the path of least resistance to your highest good in every moment. Everything around you is here to support you. Everything within you is here to keep you safe. It has the intention to protect you and take care of you. It's not your enemy. It's not out to get you. But we are also not isolated, solitary creatures. We are pack animals, and we thrive. We can survive on our own. We thrive in community. If you are currently seeking community, come join us in the Discord. We are gathering community in the Discord space. Eventually, I am still working on creating an app. So instead of having Discord or any other public space, we can actually put all of this amazing stuff and build community in our own space. That will be free to use, not as a exclusive compartment, but as a rabbit hole to help you get down to the depths of self. So, Linktree, move a change. There is community there. There is a free link to get into the Discord. There's extra resources in the Discord. If you would like to work directly with me, I have levels of membership for that, but I'm also very limited on the amount of people that I can work with at a time. My time is quite valuable to me. So, there are memberships available for that. If you have any questions about any memberships, let me know. You can find those on Patreon. You can also find them at bit.ly/CAYA Tribe, CAYA Tribe. I do have donation level memberships, so if you just want to support the fact that I teach this stuff for free and sit here for several hours 4 times a week talking and chatting with you guys about these things and sharing in hopes that we can enlighten each other. Yeah. There's also a tip jar too, Cash App, if you want to just do a single donation too. But I'm not here for the donations. I get like all choppy when I talk about this piece because it's not about the money. If I'm being authentic, I would be teaching you these things, talking about these. User 172538828. I have already let you know that the replay of class today is on YouTube. I've already given you my answer. Okay? You can go find the replay there, or you can join us next week at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Friday morning, for Tiny Yoga Live. Zark, you like working with the stream. With the stream in the background, it helps you, remind you of everything will be okay. Again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to do it. It was actually before I started doing the lives, I found somebody on YouTube who was really similar. Somebody who I would put on in the background and just listen to her talk for hours sometimes. But she only did an hour-long session, so I had to go like video after video after video. And if you ever ask me, like, what did I really, really want to do? Do what you want, and money will come, right? Do what you love, and the money will come. And all I've ever wanted to do is share the stuff that brings us to our truth. I've always wanted to heal all of humanity. Turns out it's not my job. It's yours, and mine, and yours, and yours, and yours, and all of ours, collectively. By choosing to be the change, by choosing to be true to ourselves, by choosing curiosity and compassion, by choosing to be responsible for whatever you choose. It doesn't matter what you choose. You can choose to stay in Eden and drown. You can choose to ride the waves, the highest peaks. You can choose to shoot up into samadhi and never come back down. It is your experience. But being responsible for your choices means that you are able to respond to the internal external stimuli enough to make that choice. How often are you making the choice for yourself? And when you don't, what excuses are you using? What justifications are you using? These little questions are the things that unravel our illusion. So come join us in community. Come join us on the Discord. Download any of the content you want. Ask questions on my videos, and I will be happy to make responses. If you are a member, though, a level of membership, I go the extra mile for my members because you guys do financially support me, which I very much appreciate. And I will make you your own content. So if you want a mudra for something or a breathwork practice for something, which reminds me, I've got one right there that I'm going to make today. So watch for one today. Every week I go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday for typically 1 to 4 or 5 hours. So come hang out. Outside of that, I have little events and things like that that go on in the Discord. I do come live randomly for shenanigans. But I have started posting, that's right, in the Discord. I have started posting the flows for Tiny Yoga and the mudras for every single week. So every single week, watch for my content for a new mudra. But I'm glad it's a safe space in here for you. Tiny Yoga! DJ Blackbeard, what's up? Tiny Yoga. Before I go, Tiny Yoga was actually born out of me traveling and living in all different kinds of spaces, some of them quite small. And also out of being embarrassed about doing yoga. So I didn't want to do it outside. And I made the excuse to not do yoga because I was like, well, I can't. I don't have enough room in the RV. I don't have enough room in this other place. I don't want to go outside, so I can't do Tiny Yoga. Until I found chair yoga. And I was like, well, duh. Well, shit. Duh. I can do yoga. But that got a little bit deeper when I started doing chair yoga and started acknowledging that the point of yoga is not for me to do the same set every day, but to be present with myself. And in one of my own side of my bed flows one morning, I actually saw so I heard the genie from Aladdin. Thank you, brain pirates, brain characters. I heard the genie from Aladdin come out from inside, right? Like, come out from inside of me and do that thing, say that thing about how the genie has infinite cosmic power and itty bitty living space inside of that lamp. And I suddenly was like, yeah, like humans. Like, we have this infinite cosmos within that we rarely explore in our limited, finite space body. And so what is Tiny Yoga is an exploration of the infinity within our finite. The paradox of the infinite within the finite. And what it manifests as are 30-minute gentle flows for everybody in every space. Sometimes we go a little faster, sometimes we go a little slower. We pretty much always do some kind of mindfulness meditation, whatnot. That's cool and intense seeming. It was intense, but it was funny because the genie came in for it. Right? You wanted to live inside, yes. You have your own, this is your genie bottle. Except it's way bigger in there. So, let's explore our inner cosmos together every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Yes, Pacific time. And in the other times, let's practice our mudras together. What's our mudra for the week? Here, I'll give you the mudra for the week, and then I hope that you show up tomorrow morning to join us for Bhakti Bites at 10 a.m. Mudra I shall show you. Show up you will tomorrow. Mudra I shall show you. Show up you will. Okay? Sorry. Cut it out, Mata. Every time you mention Yoda, you guys, my brain is such especially with the pirates and when I'm open and just free flowing with you guys, when you poke a song in there, that's why you guys see that, is because my awareness is open and expanded so that we can have these conversations. And when you do that, it makes the pirates a little bit more susceptible to suggestion. And so I get the songs going, you get the voices going, especially when you mention a character. Because Yoda, Yoda is one of the characters at my round table. Yoda is one of my guides. When I need some spiritual help, sometimes I go and when I need help balancing force with acceptance, that's who I speak to about it. Darth Vader. No, it's great. Okay, let's do it. Thank you, Regal Poison. Yes, they are silly and beautiful and wonderful and helpful and also sometimes very immature and very distractible and hilarious. Ultimately hilarious. Very One Piecey, right, on here. Okay, that's right. We were doing the mudra. Here's the mudra for this week. The Hridaya Mudra. I'm still working on that Sanskrit. Hridaya Mudra. Hridaya Mudra. And this is the mudra for tranquility. It translates to heart seal or gesture of the heart. You bring your index finger and curl it into the crux of your thumb. Curl it into the little hammock right there. And then touch the pad of your thumb to your middle finger and your ring finger, keeping that little cute little flame up here in the middle. Extend your pinky fingers, and this is your mudra for tranquility. This mudra does so many cool things. So if you can, if it's available, try to sit for a minimum of 5 minutes, because 5 minutes is about how long it takes for energy to recirculate through your system. Okay? If you can sit while you're watching Netflix or listening to somebody talk or sitting in the passenger seat of a car, hold your mudra and just let yourself sit with it. If at any point it becomes uncomfortable or feels bad, please stop. Not every mudra is for every system. Okay? And we don't build trust with ourselves by denying our truth. We don't build trust with ourselves by pushing ourselves past our boundaries. Right? As my mother said, if you create an enemy of yourself, that is a battle you will fight every single day, which will become the war that you wage your entire life long. Is that how you want to live? Nope. Then I have to do the radical thing and learn how to build a trusting relationship with every aspect of myself. So honor your edges. Listen to your boundaries. Give yourself at least, if you can, at least 5 minutes every day. Even if it's just 5 minutes holding the mudra. Give yourself 5 minutes every day to be present with you. You deserve much more than that, but that's a really good place to start. Vada, my mom, based on the lives and what I share, seems very wise. This is the paradox. This is the double-edged sword, right? Hi, June. This is the swinging back and forth. My mother's a really good example of the way that when we are trying to find balance as a collective, that some of us can swing too far, not too far, that some of us can swing further away from center, right? She has a lot of things a depth that she's not willing to go to within herself. And when I see that, especially knowing her past and knowing her history, that wisdom actually came from trauma, I don't blame her. I am not going to force her to go down into her depths of trauma and self and to unearth the pearls that I want from her. If she's not going to get them, then that's okay. It's really important for us to have this idea about the people around us. Like, it's not your job to force anybody to come to Jesus. It's not your job to force anybody to meditate. It's not your job to force anybody to see what you want them to see. It's not your journey. That's not your body. That's not your spark of God. You've got your own to deal with. So clean your own house. Dance with your own skeletons. Build trusting, loving relationships with yourself first, and then you'll understand what they feel like so you can see them and find them outside of yourself. My mother, in her place, in her life, and in our generations, was only able to do the amount of work that she can do in this lifetime right now. And I am so grateful for her going through it, because I also see her still in quite a depth of suffering that I wish I could pull her out of. But I tell you, every single time I've tried, she just digs in deeper. And that's often what happens when we try to pull people out of their caves. It is her choice to choose to stay in the cave as long as she wants to. I must have compassion for her process and her choice, because they are hers to make and not mine. Because when I offer her that compassion, I offer me that compassion. When I offer the shitty driver who just cut me off my compassion, I offer my compassion to me too. For those moments I've done that before and the moments I might do it again. Ultimately, I am responsible for only me. And when I learn to be responsible, able to respond to me, I cultivate a kind of truth that doesn't need me to manipulate others or to push and pull others or to demand things from others, because I have found balance and strength and peace within myself. So I can find it and also create it in the world around me. It will manifest in the world around me. You are that powerful. Time and space is relative to light. Your observation, your awareness is light. You have the capacity to manipulate time and space, and you are already doing it. The question is, how are you manipulating it? Are you manipulating it in your interest? Only your interest, at the denial of others, at the suffering of others? Are you denying your own interests to take care of everybody else at your own suffering? What are you manifesting? How are you interacting with the energy in your universe? And who are you blaming for it? Because honestly, it's probably not anybody their fault. It was when I let go of blaming every person who had ever genuinely hurt me, or not genuinely hurt me, that I had been genuinely hurt by. It was when I let go of blaming people that I found my strength. Because when I'm blaming others, I am a victim. And that's part of where my mother is still stuck. She is still stuck in being a victim of her circumstances and her experiences. And I know what that's like, and because I've seen her there, I was able to lift above it. I was able to see her in that mire and go, I don't want to do that. I can't do that. And that's the thing, Vada. You say your goal is to cast no blame this year, or as little as possible, and correct when I do. It's as simple as that. What'd you say right there? Bless her, right afterwards. If you cast blame, if you find yourself being out of alignment, if you find yourself doing that kind of thing, instead of shaming and blaming and guilting yourself and turning that light directly back on yourself, bless the both of you. Bless the one you blamed and bless yourself for the blame. Let it be a finite energy. Let it be a finite experience. This energy rose within me and it expressed as blame. Am I going to then hold on to the memory of the experience and worry all the time and worry about the other people's emotions and take their emotions and their energy too? Like, I can carry a lot from that situation. Or I can just acknowledge, oh, I see it. It's happening. I'm just going to realign, like in meditation, like in mindfulness. Sitting in mindfulness, focusing on my breath, listening to my breath. It rises and falls. And then this random thought occurs, and I follow it down a rabbit hole, and I've been thinking about some other bullshit for like 5 minutes. As soon as I realize that that's been happening, all I do is come back. And see, this is the thing, Star Muse, you say gratitude instead, and I want to go be underneath gratitude, because when we're learning these things, we don't always have gratitude. When I was first meditating, I was sitting in meditation, and when those thoughts came up, I was bitching at myself. I didn't know how to cultivate gratitude or kindness in there yet. And to expect myself to do so would have been to lose the benefit of mindfulness, of meditation. So just without any, just come back. In my head now, I have cultivated a kind of Mary Poppins voice, as if my thoughts and whatnot sometimes are little children. Right? So I'm sitting in meditation, listening to my breath, and then my mind wanders off, and a little child takes off with this, oh, I wonder about this and this and this and this. And in my mind I hear, oop. It's this sweet little oop. And I can feel it inside of me now, because I've sat with this, I practiced this. Thank you, friend. I built this relationship with this part of me. I found this energy available within me, and I helped it create a place for it on the ship. And now that Mary Poppins pirate helps me meditate. Without shame, without blame, without tension. Shame and blame, guilt, push and pull. Ooh, no shit, I fucked up. This is all tension. Over time, as I practice this thing again and again, I'm going to start having more space for compassion. I'm going to start having more space for patience. I might even start really being grateful for the awareness that my mind wandered off. What an opportunity for me to cultivate a better sense of awareness, because my mind just did the thing. I can be grateful for my mind monkeys because they give me the stepping stones to create the habit. How am I going to create the habit of being mindful if I'm already mindful? I need to not be mindful to create that thing. I need my brain to not fall in line the first few times I meditate so I can figure out how to do it, so I can do it. Where did I learn that? The piece of cultivating the parts of self, or inviting these energies? Somewhere along the way. I don't know about that one, because I have been working with the characters of facets of self within me for a really long time. That's kind of been like background for most of my life. So, Eric, you tried practicing just being the observer in my mindful meditation. Yeah, and that's a really good practice, right? That's a really good practice, to be the observer, practice being the observer. But we have to realize, as we're enlightening ourselves, there are layers and layers and layers behind our awareness. So if I'm sitting in meditation and I'm trying to just be the observer, I may still be being an ego aspect who is standing in the space of the observer. But we have to do that to get behind that one, and behind that one, and behind that one, and behind that one. Remember, mindfulness is an exploration of the subtle layers of self. Before you get to the deep, subtle, fine-tuning stuff, you've got to go through the gross motor, intense, like black and white, whatnot stuff. It's got to be me and myself, and I. And then we find that there is also a me and an I. I don't know. Just subtle layers of each. And a myself, and a myself. And then it's not about creating the energies to do the thing, like say, oops. It's about finding the energies that already did the thing, that already do the thing. Because they're already within you. And being curious and doing that practice, like you're talking about, Eric, of sitting back and just waiting and just being the observer without attachment, without the push and pull. It's a really good way to see the bigger picture. The more time we spend within ourselves, the more clarity we will have. Observer is a good way to explain it for people who don't get that they are not their thoughts. Yeah. Yeah, and again, right? But it's like the beginning. Yeah. So what I really like to get beyond, right? To get beyond that observer, if you're in a space where you've been practicing with the observer for a while, yes, yeah, it's hard sometimes being the observer without judgment, no bias, no opinion. And I think I have come to understand that because when we do that, we're actually still in a place of an ego aspect. It's not the highest self, the captain quite yet. And okay, so if you are working with the observer and sitting in the observer space and haven't tried the not me meditation and want to attempt to get behind the observer, I encourage you to do the not me meditation. Um, I will go ahead. You know what? We'll go ahead and just do the not me meditation right now. You guys can take it with you. I think we did it several times in this live and last week as well. This week as well. It's been coming up a bunch. So let's just do it again. So one of my favorite ways. There's many. One of my favorite ways to trick the ego, trick the mind into non-attachment, is to. This is one of mine. There's a lot of practices. Okay, so not me. Start with your eyes open. Look around your space. In fact, see if you can find the furthest away thing from you. I've got a window out here, so I'm going to go to the mountaintops. I want you to look around and find the furthest thing away from you. Give this thing all of your attention. Focus as if your attention is a laser and you're trying to touch that thing with the laser. Give it all of your attention, all of your focus, all of your energy. All of your attention, all of your focus, all of your energy. Don't worry about what it is. Don't worry about any attachment to the thing. Just focus. Focus, 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 focus. Now, relax your focus and say to yourself, I can observe this thing, so it is not me. For me, it's the tree, it's the mountain. I can observe this mountain, so it is not me. That's pretty obvious, right? To the brain. Clearly, that's not me. Okay, let's find something maybe just outside, if you've got a window, or just in the room that you're in. Something closer. Come in a little bit closer. Find something a little bit closer to you. What am I going to pick? Okay, I got something. Something a little bit closer. Give it all of your attention, all of your focus, all of your energy. Look at the thing. Look at the thing as if you're curious about it. Look at the thing as if you've never seen this thing before. There is no explanation for this thing. There is no concepts about this thing. We do not need to engage the brain in telling me what this thing is, because the brain is very quick to tell me what this thing is and confirm, duh, it's not me. Okay, but we're playing a game here, brain, so focus, 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 focus. And then relax your focus and say to yourself, I can observe this thing, this butterfly wind chime, because it is not me. Again, brain goes, yeah, okay. It's coming a little closer. Pick something in the room around you, right around you, something nearby. All of your attention, all of your focus, all of your attention, all of your focus, all of your light of awareness on this thing, consuming this thing. Like your awareness is going to try to eat that thing up. All of your attention, all of your focus. And now repeat to yourself, I can observe this thing, so it is not me. Okay. We've decided that everything outside of us is not us. Yeah? Okay. Close your eyes. Roll your eyeballs around in your head. Roll them back and forth, up and down. Just move your eyeballs. You feel that? You feel the movement of your eyeballs underneath your eyelids? Okay. All of your focus, all of your attention on the movement of your eyeballs, the feeling of your eyeballs, the shape of your eyeballs, the way that they pull the tendons behind your eyeballs. Really pay attention to your eyeballs, probably in a way that you have never paid attention to your eyeballs. Give them all of your attention, all of your focus, as if you're trying to absorb your eyeballs with your awareness, all of your focus on them. And then say to yourself, I can observe these eyes, so they are not me. It's true. I can observe this thing as if it's not part of me. I can observe this thing. It is not me. Listen to the breath for a few moments. Inhales and exhales. All of your attention and all of your focus on the breath. The way that the heart rises and falls on the breath, the way that the chest cavity expands and contracts around the breath. All of your attention, all of your focus on the breath, inhaling and exhaling. All of your focus. And now say to yourself, I can observe this breath, so it is not me. Yeah, there's still a separation where I can observe the breath happening. There's somewhere in me that is observing this thing. Okay? Go deeper, listen into your heartbeat. Feel the way your heart goes bum 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 in your chest. See if you can hear it. Reach, 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 reach. See if you can hear your heartbeat inside of your body. Reach, 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 reach. I can observe this heart, so it is not me. I can observe this heartbeat, so it is not me. Turn your attention to your thoughts. Watch in your mind as thoughts rise and fall, any ones that come up. Every time one comes up, repeat to yourself, not me, not me, not me. Waiting for those thoughts. What thought is going to come up next? Is that one going to be me? No, not me. Every thought, not me. I recognize in this space that there is still a me that I can observe, observing these things. Where is the me? Behind the words that I'm using, behind the thoughts that I'm having, telling myself to look at the thoughts, telling myself to look at the thing, telling myself to listen. Where am I? I encourage you to use that meditation when you have time to stay with the space, the not me space. The space where you realize that to observe any of these things is not to be them. And if I can even observe myself observing, then I am not even the observer itself. You can stay here if you've got the space to do so. If you're ready to come out, I encourage you to listen to the sounds around you before you close your eyes. The sounds in the room around you, the sounds of your body again. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, get back into your physical form, get back into your ego self, get back into the here and the now before you flutter your eyes open. I always call that the slippery slope into meditation. The water slide to go behind the observer. What I have noticed about the captain is that the captain is much more of a full experience, a feeling, as a presence, than a thinking, processing part of the brain. Starmuse took a sip of it, so coffee is not me. Precisely. I am none of these things, yet I am privy to all of these things, and interactive with all of these things. The paradox, the duality. I am all and nothing at once. I am finite, yet infinity resides within me. It's that infinity. It's that infinity within, the divinity within. That is who you are. All the rest is finite manifestations. Rise and fall, ebb and flow. Constant exchange with the entire universe. Yes, Starmuse, I am finite, my soul is not. Zark, you're very welcome. Did you slip down the slippery slope? I love that one because of how effective, how quick it is. All right, my friends, I am going to go get myself something to snack on. I'm going to go have myself some food. And I'm going to go, I don't know, today's Friday. So if you are in the Discord or would like to join the Discord and join us for a watch party, I have I don't know if you know about CAYA, the streaming service CAYA. Got some really cool, really cool stuff, mindfulness related. Yoga, spirituality, consciousness, exploring manifestation, exploring ancient civilizations, and exploring supernatural stuff. CAYA is full of that. So in the Discord, I'm going to start doing Friday night streaming. I need to make an actual schedule, like a digest for Friday night streaming, but we'll do Friday night streaming probably like 4 o'clock Pacific time, I think. That's how I have it on my calendar, so I guess that's going to be it. So, if you're in the Discord, 4 p.m. Yes, Phoenix Rising. Awesome. If you have any suggestions of things that you would like to watch with us tonight, let me know. Sometimes I kind of just pick a thing, but we just recently started, the couple of videos we watched were on the supernatural realm. So I think I'll probably pick a couple more supernatural ones. But there's a huge library, and yeah. So if you want to join us for that, come join us in the Discord. If you would like to work directly with me, there are memberships available for that. You can find those through the Discord. You can also find those on patreon.com/movewithchange. There is a link in my bio for my link tree, and that gets you all the places, including the ability to make one-time donations, monthly donations, or join our community, or find my podcast, or other cool things like that. There's other cool things on the link tree. If you have any questions, if you want a link sent directly to you for something, for this or that, please just send me a message. If you want to chat with me about the material, the best place to do it really is in Discord. Even if you don't agree with the material and you want to chat with me about it, feel free to reach out. I love you. You are your own guru. And to be honest, if the universe didn't need you, you wouldn't be here right now. So, be you. The beautiful, authentic you that you've always been intended to be. That is always available to you. Just make a little space. Okay? I love you so much. Enjoy your Friday! Good night, YouTube. Sorry, I just saw that, Phoenix Rising. Sorry, I just paused because I was like, what? You used what you learned from the Wednesday live while you're at the waterfall. Nice! Are you talking about the mudra? Our mudra this week? The Hridaya Mudra? Guys, remember replays for classes are on YouTube. If you'd like to see the replays. Sometimes YouTube doesn't do its thing, so let me know if we're missing a class. Okay. Yes, the mudra. I have been doing the mudra a lot this week because it's the mudra for tranquility, and it is really, really nice. It also works on circulation and heart rate and clearing the blood and detoxifying the body and oxygenating the blood and all sorts of cool shit. So yeah. So keep using it. I love you guys so much. I will see you tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is our Saturday morning Bhakti Bites, which means we will also have a longer meditation. That's usually when I bring in the big guns and like add the visualization and the breath work and the mantra and the all sorts of stuff. And we have a whole journey on Saturdays. I love you. Have a great day. Enjoy your Friday. I'm really going to click off now. Okay. Good night, you.